Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to MTG Card Market for a night of Wednesday Modern action. I'm joined in the booth by Dan Dwan, and we will be bringing you 4 rounds of action tonight as our players are currently getting set up for the first round out there. And also between rounds, of course, we won't just be on intermission screens. We'll be talking about some very exciting developments that happened in the world of Magic this weekend, including 2 standard GPs and a Modern Open, all of which have interesting results to talk about.
Yeah, a lot is happening in the world of Magic. We've got a Modern GP coming up in Dallas in just 2 weeks. Had the SCG Modern Open last weekend, so a lot of things are shifting, even though the format's kind of developing. You know, figuring out what the meta looks like.
Yeah, we'll certainly be talking about about the results from the events over the past weekend. I'm very interested to get your opinion on stuff like blue white flash, which has quickly sort of become the become like the #1 sort of boogeyman in the room when people talk about standard right now.
Yeah.
Very strong performance.
But in the meantime, we're gonna cut down to our table here.
Yeah,
because we should have
here.
2 players seated.
Oh wow, this game is going on. All right, so on the right we have Tony Skripchek, whose last name is a bunch of letters that I can never spell. Mm-hmm. SKRZY.
Now, Matt Barbuccio had an interesting turn 2 play of Noble Hierarch into Kira.
So, I think it's entirely possible that Matt is playing some sort of Bant Spirits list.
Yeah, the Mausoleum Wanderer definitely does indicate
Okay, there
that.
we go. Yeah. Bant Spirits, obviously the winner of the Modern Open this weekend.
And the second Mausoleum Wanderer.
Yeah, so Tony is going to have a more taxing time casting spells.
Yeah. So it looks like his Tony's Burning Tree Emissary, instead of not really fueling an explosive draw, but will make future Nykthos is
Very
quite powerful.
good. Yeah. So yeah, Tony here at 18 from 2 fetches, and it looks like Matt at 17, call it, from a fetch shock.
Looks like 17, yes.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Tony's going to play a Summoner's Pact. Now, Matt has the option of sacking the Mausoleum Wanderers to counter them, but he'd have to sack he'd have to sack both of them, and then Tony could choose just not to cast cast the thing he got off of it.
Yeah, and so Tony here going to play a Courser of Crufix, a standard all-star from
a couple standards.
From a couple standards ago. Very powerful card from Theros.
Right.
We'll pull up Mausoleum Wanderer here off to the side so you can see. So this is it's a core piece of the band Spirits deck. It's a 1-drop, which is important.
Importantly, getting this off Collected Company or playing multiple spirits does make it bigger and makes the second ability of sacking a little better. Tony's going to gain a life here from Corsair Crewfish trigger.
Forgot about that pesky thing. And so yeah, Tony there paying for Pact on his upkeep, unable to do anything else.
Yeah, easy thing to forget.
Yeah. All right, so Matt here is just going to jam. Here comes 4, and before damage, this is important with Mausoleum Wanderer because this can potentially increase the amount of damage Matt does by 4 here. Let's see what he hits. Oh, he's just going to hit a single Hierarch. Guys, this is why Collected Company can sometimes backfire, but still, that's a fair bit of damage going to come across into the red zone.
Yeah, wasn't the greatest of Collected Companies. I think it was 4 land, a Coco, and a Noble Hierarch.
I've seen better.
Yeah.
Tony here. So yeah, Tony paying for Pact, gaining a life from that Courser of Crufix trigger.
Right, and with Arbor Elf, he actually has access to at least 3 mana this turn. If he plays another enchantment on that land, it might be even more.
I think Tony has a Craterhoof Behemoth in hand, which is just like an absurd Magic card.
Yeah, Hornet Queen into Craterhoof will be quite good.
Yes, that has been known to do some serious damage before.
Yeah. So Matt tapping out here. Well, almost tapping out. It's got Noble Hierarch up. Gonna activate Gavany Township
for 7 here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Tony gonna take the hit. Gonna go down to 9, but this is fine. I guess.
Of note, Cure makes your creatures very resilient to spot removal.
Right.
But Hornet Queen just comes with
lots
small
of tokens, and there is the Hornet Queen herself. This card saw some play in Standard when it was around. Very, very powerful option. Amulet Bloom used to play this as like a alternative to Primeval Titan.
Matt's creatures might be large, but all of those insects have Death Touch.
Right.
So no way to break through this.
Against a creature deck, it's just like 4. Ooh, this seems
Selfless
alright.
Spirit. All right.
Yeah. Selfless Spirit will be able to sacrifice itself to give Matt's creatures indestructible, so he can sort of battle through these hornets.
So Matt's kind of deciding here just how much damage he wants to swing for.
Right.
If he swings with everyone, Tony's not priced into blocking all of them, right?
So those Maelstrom Wanderers are 3/3s right now, the Mausoleum Wanderers are 3/3s. Because the Selfless Spirit entered the battlefield. Mm-hmm. So if this is a swing, it's for 9, which puts Tony very close to dead. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to block.
Right.
So yeah.
But see, the question here is do you trade a Selfless Spirit for
right?
1? I think at 2 you make the trade now. At 3 it's like snap.
Oh yeah. Sack. Yeah. Okay. So Matt's gonna sack here. Tony looks like he's gonna take 3, go to 7.
Yep. Matt also looks like he had activation for Township up.
Maybe he's got something. He might have a Spell Queller or something similar in hand.
Yeah.
Tony here going to go to 6 to fetch. One nice thing with Courser and one nice thing with Courser and fetch lands is not only as I just recently missed, do they make your fetches life neutral, but they also, if you have extra fetches, it lets you shuffle away the top card of your deck. Mm-hmm. So another Courser here,
which he can't hate to see. Tony also with
that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and wham.
May just have lethal here.
That's a lot of damage. And yep, that is going to do it. Tony script check on green-red Devotion. Gonna take it down. Overmap Arbucio on Banned Spirits.
Yeah, the Crater Hoof trigger, I think, would have given his field like something like +6, +7.
Something like that. Yeah, there was a Hornet Queen, 2 Spirit tokens, Elf, whatever. Yeah, so Crater Hoof Behemoth proving very good. Wow. Yeah, no, that's the thing with the green ramp decks is once they start hitting those scary amounts of mana, they can really do whatever the heck they want.
Right. It's that's also one of the weaknesses, though, right? Like you
have to get
you
there.
do need the synergistic pieces. Arbor Elf, just as a
top deck,
a bad Birds of Paradise, is not the most exciting. Is when your lands start carrying enchantments on them, and tap for multiple mana. That's when it gets kind of busted.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Arbor Elf untap my forest isn't great. Arbor Elf untap my Utopia Sprawled Forest is a lot of mana.
Right. Also, you saw with Burning Tree Emissaries, Tony's got Nykthos in his deck.
Right.
So one land can end. Well, you have to pay 2 to activate Nykthos.
But still,
it can end up making 8-10 mana
easily.
It's completely not unheard of, and Tony just goes way over the top over a lot of these creature decks.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt had a reasonably aggressive draw, like a bunch of flyers.
He did miss on the Coco, but he did. He also did have a pretty decent start.
Right. I mean, given a different Coco, if like Matt had hit double Lord, Tony would just easily be dead here.
Absolutely. But, as it went, Crater Hoof Behemoth, still a very strong Magic card when you put it into play.
Yeah, it's just a good closer. Yeah, at worst, you attack for 6 on an empty board.
Right.
At 6 haste trample.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
Yeah. And in a deck, obviously, that likes to clog the board up like Tony's does. Just like, suddenly my 1/1 flyers are 7/7s with trample.
Right.
Big yikes.
And you'll see that one of the interesting plays Tony made was he Summoner pacted for a Courser. Like, Courser's not like a busted card or anything. He was just summoning packs for, a card just for value, right?
Yeah. Well, I think because he had the stuff in hand that would let him sort of go over the top and win the game, I think he was interested in making sure that he had some sort of life gain and had some sort of way to either clog up the ground, had some life gain, and also could get card advantage by playing lands off the top.
Right. I think the thing that made that play more easy to make was that Tony had the second Summoner's Pact.
Yes, absolutely.
Hornet Queen was an excellent draw, but if he hadn't, found the Hornet Queen, he could have just pacted for it.
Absolutely. Yep, so player's going to shuffle up for game 2 here. I have to assume Matt's going to be on the play. Did not see any Spell Queller last game, which I feel like can be really good against Tony's deck. Obviously, the top end gets around it, but Spell Queller or Summoner's Pact prevent you from getting what you're trying to get is quite good, I think.
Right. And even when it gets swept, Tony presumably has things like Anger of the Gods. Actually, perhaps not. It kind of clears it. Yeah. Tony has cards like Bonfire of the Damned.
I don't know if he's playing Bonfire right now either. He could just be on like the mono green splash red for Kessig.
Okay. I mean, presumably he would have bolts. I don't know how light the red splash is.
I think it's pretty light. I would not be surprised if he didn't have bolts. Yeah. Spell Queller nuts against decks with no bolts. This guy right here.
Doing a lot of work in Standard and
quite a lot of work in Standard.
Possibly some in Modern as well.
Yeah, there was a deck that obviously Banned Spirits won the Open. There were also 3 Spell Quellers in the deck that took 6th, which was a Jeskai Flash Geist list with Spell Queller. I don't know. I mean, against decks that don't have a way to kill your Spell Queller, it's quite good.
Absolutely.
I mean, even against decks that do Spell Quell your burn spell.
Right.
Then they have to use a burn spell to get their burn spell. Seems good to me.
So Matt going to 6 here. Not the worst. Even with Tony on 7, when you're playing cards like Collecting Company, it's fairly easy to draw your way out of mulligans. That first mulligan's almost free, right, with the Scry.
Yeah. Matt here, considering the Scry, it's going to go bottom. And here we go. Let's see what he's got. Turn 1 Windswept Heath, but no 1-drop.
Right. Tony with the Foothills into Birds of Paradise.
Mm-hmm. And
Pretty
Matt
much-
gonna fetch as well at the same time.
Pretty much exactly what this deck wants to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the dream start is Arbor Elf into Utopia Sprawl of Forest, but Birds is very good, and, you know, any deck that plays Birds wants to see it turn 1, of course.
Right.
So, all right. Untap for Matt, and he'll take a draw step. So
Yeah.
he's considering fetching or shocking here. Looks like he's going to shock. Oh. He's going to go to 17 from the shock and pass. This to me represents he's holding up Rattle Chains or something similar.
Matt could have also boarded into the counter magic.
Just a Rattle Chains for now.
Yeah, but the pump fake kind of revealed his hand a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Rattle Chain's going to come in, and this is what the Bant Spirits decks wants to be doing, right? Like they're holding up he's holding up mana for, like, he's very obviously representing Queller here. But, like, if you're Tony, you're not just going to not play spells because you're afraid your opponent has Queller. Like, you just have to run into it, I think.
I mean, there compared to other decks, you know, Tony has a lot of cards he can cast that
Don't get spell Queller.
just don't get spell colored. Absolutely.
And I'm sure, okay, so Tony draws a Garrick, which is that the 4-mana Garrick or the 5-mana Garrick?
This is 4-mana Garrick. This
Okay,
is
so that is the dream Queller target right there if you're Matt. Like, holy moly.
Yeah, it looks like Tony's also looking at a pair of Nykthos.
Not ideal.
Yeah, a little less impressive when you have only one
Yep.
devotion.
There's the 4-mana Garrick. Matt looks like he's considering a response. If he has Queller, the time is now.
Yeah.
But
If he does not have Queller or any counter magic,
this is not good.
this is going to spell bad stuff. There's a lot of options what Tony can do, but all of it's pretty bad for you.
Is Garrick Wild Speaker?
Yes.
Okay, different art here on the sidebar, but he's going to just minus and make a beast.
Matt using the Rattle Chain's ability to flash in a Selfless Spirit. Now, importantly, with Tony, with Nykthos in hand, if Garrick had survived, he could start untapping Nykthos.
For a lot of
For
mana.
a lot of mana. Here, Tony ran the Garrick knowing that Rattle Chains would kill it. And
Could have blocked with Birds. I was surprised that Matt didn't send both at the Garrick.
I think he might have sent both.
The way he gestured to me made it look like he was going one here, one there. But 5 mana now for Tony. Things keep getting better. It looks like he's got a Primal Command in hand. Oh boy. We're going to be interesting to see if we can determine what modes he'll choose for something like that.
Right.
But, yep. Primal Command, going to come down. And this cannot be spell quellered, of course.
It cannot. No, depending on how Matt boarded, he does have access to counter magic.
Yeah.
Not sure whether or not he wanted to adopt that role.
Right.
Now, Primal Command has a lot of modes in it. This one is going to probably be looking for
Green
a green
creature.
creature in his deck and maybe like regrowthing something.
I think he'll. So, I think he's probably gonna gain 7 life and look for a card.
Right. He can optionally set Matt behind, but like putting a land on top, but that's like
Putting a land on top isn't as good when Matt can fetch and say that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Matt is struggling on land, right?
Yeah, we're gonna put. I'm gonna assume that Tony took the life option because he didn't. So we're gonna put him at 20 here. But he got an Eternal Witness, so now Ewit my Primal Command, sort of cute stuff.
Right.
End of turn. Coco from Matt. Let's see if he can come up with something impressive
Now, this
here.
has a lot of powerful hits, like
Drogskull Captain.
Drogskull Captain.
There's a
Geist of
Geist.
Train-
There's a Geist in there right now.
I mean, this is like everything you want.
Drogskull Geist here is nuts.
Yeah.
That's Drogskull. That's Geist. Oh wow, you did it.
What
What is the swing here? You got 6, 8 plus Geist. Wow, Tony was almost dead. If Matt has another Drogskull, he's good.
Yeah,
But
this is going to be very close to killing Tony.
okay, so it's 6, 8 plus
4.
11 plus 15.
Let's see. So 2, 2, 2, 2 is 8 plus 3 from the.
Yeah,
So it's 11 plus Angel, 15 total.
yeah. Oh man, what And yeah, Tony just completely tapped out no blockers. Going to go to going to go to 5 here from 20. If Tony hadn't gained that life off the Primal Command, he would just be dead.
It'd just be dead. Importantly, also.
What do you do if you're Tony? There's like Geist.
Yeah, this is pretty
there
rough.
There are flyers.
Sweepers aren't good because of the Selfless Spirit.
Yep.
The Angel is. I mean, half these. Almost all these creatures fly. And you're gonna have a 4/4 Angel as well. Tony really, really needs Hornet Queen, and is not.
He doesn't
there
have the
in
mana though.
Yeah,
he's one off.
Right. Despite keeping 7, a pretty anemic draw from Tony.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I think he was relying a lot on that Garrick, but there's another one. But like, what is this Garrick gonna do? Like, it's gonna cast an Eternal Witness. It's gonna cast an Oath of Nissa.
Okay.
To me, this doesn't feel good enough.
This does not look good enough.
Nope. And that's gonna scoop it up. Yeah, guys. So, Collected Company, pretty nuts Magic card when you hit Drogskull Captain Geist.
Yeah, Collected Company. I mean, we kind of saw the Feast or Famine aspect of it in games 1 and 2, right?
We did. Drogskull Captain right here, folks. It's a Lord for Spirits. It's a 3 mana 2/2. Other spirit creatures you control have +1 and +1 and get hexproof. Very strong at protecting your spirits from removal.
Absolutely.
Forces your opponent to deal with the captain. If you have a double captain, your whole board has hexproof. Like, seems fine to me.
Now the difficult part about playing against this deck as well is there are 8 creatures in Matt's deck that give things hexproof conditionally. Yes. Maybe 9 even because he has Akira.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. So here's the other one, which we saw this game.
Yeah. So it makes Collected Company just particularly brutal if you try to play any removal.
Yeah. And here's the thing is with that last ability on Rattle Chains, you may cast spirit spells as though you had flash. That really is just like, that's the dream for a spirit deck. If your Rattle Chains is uncontested, like, yeah, you're beating in the air, that's fine. But like, you literally never have to tap. You never have to tap mana on your turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And when your opponent leaves up 3, it's difficult. It's like, is this a Drogskull? Is this a Geist?
Is it a
Queller?
Right. I mean, flash in Geist end of turn feels filthy.
Yeah, I mean, Geist is fantastic when you're ahead.
Of course.
Terrible when you're behind.
That's how that card goes. But both players looking like they're going to keep 7. Tony going to fetch for a Utopia Sprawl on.
Fetch for probably a Forest into a Utopia Sprawl here. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Matt going to play a Flooded Strand and pass it back.
So Tony's got access to 3 mana on turn.
3 mana turn 2.
Yeah.
Normal for ramp decks,
The dream is turn 1 Arbor Elf. You can have access to 4 mana on turn 2, which is kind of absurd.
That's nutty.
So
that's a
like
Nykthos there into a Courser.
Really enforce on top.
Yeah. It's always worse when you reveal your top card and you're like, oh, it's a land, I'm going to have to draw that now.
Yeah.
But that's fine, he'll still be gaining life. Courser, like, not great against these flyers because he can't really block very well, but the incidental life gain will slow Matt down to a degree. Yeah. And Tony actually does go mana positive with his Nykthos now too, because he has green Devotion to green 3 in play.
Well, that's mana neutral, right? You have to pay 2.
Oh, you're right. He goes neutral with it. My bad.
We're pretty close. Matt.
Another Utopia Sprawl on top here.
Right,
That's
Matt.
tasty.
No turn 2 play here.
Right.
Tony
He's probably holding something up, right?
Yeah, Rattle Chains, Remand. Yeah.
Surf for 2.
Yep.
I'm gonna go to 17. Courser, an annoying attacker because it is a 2/4. Can't really do a lot to it.
Yeah, Tony having access to 4 mana here. This is really where you want to start powering out threats.
Make some mana, Eternal Witness, get back your Misty, and a turn. Here comes the Rattle Chains. All right, so Matt doing what he wants to do. Obviously, being on the draw is like not as much fun for his deck, but he's gonna get in here for some damage.
Right. Tony probably really upset to have to play that Eternal Witness and only getting back a land.
Yeah.
But I think he feels like he just needs to apply more pressure.
Certainly, yeah, and that
inconsequentially. Also, this adds Devotion 2.
Yes, that's actually a huge deal. Tony can make whoa boy, yep, yeah. So like Devotion 5, real good. Primal Command 2 here. So this is Tony just tapped 2 lands and made 5 mana. He's gonna put a land into play, trigger Courser, go to 19, and then looks like he's going to do something and also put the breeding pool on top of Matt's deck. Matt probably wants to respond here by flashing in a spirit of some sort.
Right, or at the very least, floating the mana for this.
Yeah.
Despite being able to have several creatures that give your stuff hexproof, none of them give your permanents hexproof.
True. Matt here gonna go to 16 as he fetches in response.
Now, it's kind of interesting that Tony played a land from hand, given that he's going to have enough look from Courser, assuming he's tutoring for a green creature.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. As we wait for this Primal Command to resolve, we will see what the deal is. Matt here gonna tap 3 mana, flash in something. Drogsoul Captain gonna hit the board. Okay, breeding pool on top of the deck for Matt. The thing is now Matt sees, like, okay, so Tony does have to search here.
Right.
But, like, that Crater Hoof on top can come back just as easily if he just, goes and gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Tony pulled an Eternal Witness to the front. Tony could have also been playing around Spell Pierce.
Yeah.
The second land does make you Spell Pierce proof, which is a reasonable card for Matt to bring in here.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that, so Tony going to get the Eternal Witness, just sort of continue on the play of buy back my Primal Command until, like, you shock yourself to death with your lands.
Yeah, setting back a land drop and a land, a card draw, really.
Yeah.
Is crucial here because this.
Oh
means,
my god.
Yeah, this means
Hornet Queen on top of the deck.
Right. This means that Matt can't play Collecting Company this turn.
Yeah.
Because he's just a little too far behind. Tony also electing not to attack with his creatures, presumably not wanting to trade the Ewit off to preserve the devotion.
This is a swing for 5. Matt going to 14 to shock here. Tied at 14. Tony with a Summoner's Pact in hand too, so like he can just toolbox his whole deck out at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no need to really do anything here.
Matt looks like he's doing something. Ooh, okay. So in Tony's upkeep, he's going to path the Courser, and if Tony wants to keep the Hornet Queen on top, he will need to not search.
Right. This is excellent.
I mean, Hornet Queen is quite good here, but also Tony only has access to 5 mana now because of that Devotion's off the board. Yep. And so we see. I mean, he has a Summoner's Pact, so he's just going to shuffle and.
I mean, importantly also, I think Tony was doing the math, like, if he played the Eternal Witness, could he build the Devotion up high enough? And the answer was no.
Right.
That only makes Devotion 5. So, I mean, with that in mind, might as well, get a fresh draw here. Tony quite flooded in hand, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you play a big ramp deck like this, you do have a lot of lands.
Yeah, if he plays land, gets Eternal Witness, he can nick those for 5, though.
Pretty good. Double fetch here to 12.
Yeah, so he can't nick those for 5, which means that once again, Tony can play
Primal
the Primal Command.
Yeah, but I feel like with the Primal Command, like Tutor Hornet Queen top your thing, it's probably fine.
Tutor Hornet Queen, either top your land to sort of time walk you again, or
absolutely,
you can choose like. Perhaps bounce the Drogsoul Captain.
Yep.
I like this play of bounce the land.
Yeah, it's really annoying to get locked out like this by Primal Command.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very possible that Matt has a bunch of stuff that's just like not castable.
He's got another Rattle Chains though. So and Tony gonna tutor as well. So Matt basically needs to win the game on this turn.
Right.
Oh wow, Tony going for the real Eternal Command style plays here with another Eternal Witness.
Well, you have to keep in mind that once he places Eternal Witness, Nykthos is now for 7.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean I am aware.
Yeah.
So yeah, here Matt, got to think about if he has another Drogskull Captain, he doesn't quite kill him. Wait, no, he does, but he doesn't. So he doesn't have it. So this is an attack for 8. All of those have flying.
Yeah, Tony trying to block here, but unfortunately it does have flying.
Tony going to go to 4.
So despite Tony effectively time-walking Matt,
Multiple times.
Just not being able to get any action here.
Yeah, but
He will have Summoner's Pact for
Hornet Queen.
Which is fine. Tony deciding whether or not he can play the Eternal Witness first, which effectively only costs 1.
Right.
And it looks like he will have enough mana to do that. This is if he plays the Eternal Witness, his devotion will be 7, and then so Nykthos makes 5 mana.
Yeah.
5 mana positive.
So yeah, he's rebought the Primal Command with another Eternal Witness here. Yeah. Oh, is there the line of Tony kills Matt with a Kessig Wolf Run on an Eternal Witness?
That's a possible line. I don't think he has enough damage. He has 6 on board, and then
yeah, you're right.
Can only Kessig for 5.
Okay.
No,
yeah.
can Kessig for 6.
Yeah, but he also one of those Eternal Witnesses is summoning sick. So, all right. So Tony here gonna Summoner's Pact for Craterhoof. Seems good.
Craterhoof should be lethal. Craterhoof is certainly lethal. Craterhoof itself has a 9/9. So if this resolves, Matt is dead.
Well, no, his creatures have haste too. They all have haste. Get in there. So those are
haste creatures off trample. They do not get.
Oh, Craterhoof itself has haste.
Craterhoof itself has haste. Yeah. So both these Eternal Witnesses will be 6/6s.
Matt gonna flash in a Selfless
6/5s.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot of damage. He's very dead. He's gonna get trampled.
Yep, not quite enough. Selfless Spirit only having 1 toughness. Not exactly what you want here.
Yep, trample rules, guys. Just gonna run him over.
Yeah. So
Craterhoof training coming.
Yeah. So Craterhoof is a 9/9. Eternal Witness is a 6. They're both 6/5s. So this is just going to be 21 points of trample damage.
And that's going to do it. Banned Spirit's going to lose to Green-Red Devotion here with some Craterhoof Behemoth plays. Dan is going to pop out of the booth for a moment, try to acquire a new match for us, and we should be onto something new shortly. But yeah, so Matt just a little bit too slow. Maybe got time walked one too many times, and ultimately winds up losing that one. We see Tony here de-sideboarding. So it looks like he has bolts, but they're in the board. He also has Sudden Shock. Matt with an Aven Mind Sensor and a Meddling Mage out of the board for him. Trying to take care of Tony's ability to tutor or, play big cards that just end the game on the spot like Craterhoof freaking Behemoth. Yeah, so Dan should be back shortly. Hopefully we can get another match. If not, we'll come back up to the booth and we will talk about results from this weekend. Yeah, so Banned Spirit's gonna lose a match there to Green-Red Devotion. So, the ramp decks with Banned Spirits not being super disruptive and not as hyper fast as something like Affinity make it very difficult to win without Green-Red Devotion just going over the top. And Dan is nodding to me that we have another match. So who do we have, Dan?
We're going to have Sydney and Sean.
Okay, so Sean is on the right.
Sean is on the right. He's going to be playing Rug.
Okay.
Not exactly sure what kind of build he had.
Sure.
This is game 3. But his hand had Botanical Sanctum, Blood Moon, and I believe a Hunt Master.
What was the first one?
Botanical Sanctum.
Oh, the green-blue Fastland.
Right. And then Sydney's playing a pretty stock list of Jund.
Okay. Well, we will see which red-green deck and Splash is better.
Yeah. So going back to the previous game, the crux of it really was just getting to like 7 and 8 for Hornet Queen and Craterhoof Behemoth.
Yes, that is what that deck does. Right. I have with Primal Command and Summoner's Pact, you have 8 or 9 to 10 copies of those cards, the cards themselves plus the tutors. So
yeah, absolutely. And Tony took a pretty interesting line of going up the Eternal Witness chain to repeatedly build Devotion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's particularly strong when you know your opponent doesn't have removal, right?
Right.
He has maybe Path, and that's it. A Path there would have been pretty backbreaking, though, because Path would
Path your Crater Hoof,
Not
get
even-
hit for 12. Or just path one of your Ewits, yeah.
right. Anytime before then, Path would have strangely cut him off of mana.
Right, because the Eternal Witness is obviously providing 2 mana to Nykthos, and the Force from Path only
Right.
providing 1, but ultimately there just wasn't enough removal for it. Like, I electrolyzed 2 of your Eternal Witnesses, right? Like, take them off of 4 mana and draw a card.
Yeah,
but
I'm sorry.
Banned Spirits, no access to that. So Sean here looks like he's mulliganing.
Is that an Ancient Grudge?
I am confused.
That can't be an Ancient Grudge, right?
It looks like an Ancient Grudge to me, Dan.
This is Jund.
Yeah, dude, maybe Jund has Peace Strider in it to block Etched Champion. I don't know.
Alright,
It's unclear to me what's going on.
sure. Looks like Sean has mulligan to 6 at least, though.
Why is there an Ancient Grudge in his deck, Dan?
That can't be an Ancient Grudge. That just can't be an Ancient Grudge.
It looks like the shiny, flamey Ancient Grudge. Not that one, but the other one.
Right. Looks like Sean is going deep in the tank on this.
That's definitely
Mulligan, yeah.
Ancient Grudge. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why does...
Yeah, he's gonna mull the 5.
unless I have Sydney's deck incorrect here.
What if Sydney's on Affinity, dude?
I mean, possibly. I thought he was on Jund.
Okay. Could have audibled at the last second. Sydney's known to have more than one deck.
Right. So yeah, while we wait for mulligans, if Sydney is on Affinity, mulligan of 5 is not the worst because you have a lot of powerful hate cards. If you get Ancient Grudge, Shatterstorm, Stony Suns, these kind of cards, they can really buy you out of the card disadvantage.
Right.
If on the other hand, Sydney is on something like Jund, going to 5, and then
the reverse stream.
right, getting Inquisition, all of a sudden like your hand is just completely nonsense.
Yeah. Looks like Sean has a Snapcaster in a land or something. He's gonna bottom a Misty. And here we go. I think Sydney's on John.
Verdant Catacombs would be a very strange start for Affinity.
Yep, and that's gonna go for Swamp, which to me suggests that someone is getting Inquisition this turn, and it's probably Sean Collender. Oh, this is gonna be so bad.
Hey, let's not jump the gun here. Could also be Thoughtseize.
That's not much. That's not much. Not much better, but ooh, you were right, Dan. Good
Right.
call. Oh boy.
Taking
Snapcaster.
it looks like Steam Vents, Flooded Strand,
Wooded Foothills.
Snap,
Snapcaster and 1 card under Snapcaster.
yeah. One thing that you might it's taking
Tarmogoyf.
One thing that you notice a lot is it's difficult to fetch Shock and then play Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
It feels bad to take 5.
Because you're at 15, yeah.
Right, so you see a lot of people just fetch or swamp. No, I since we can't see Sydney's hand, swamp just might have been the best choice
Yeah.
here.
He's got a Bloodstained Mire.
Right,
So he's gonna have access to all his different colors of mana.
right. So one thing that is worth pointing out though is that Verdant Catacombs is the best fetch in Jund.
Right.
Because you can get both basic forest and basic swamp.
For sure.
So if you're gonna fetch for basic swamp, usually you're gonna want to lead out on a
Bloodstained Mire.
Bloodstained Mire.
Yeah. So this
just so
is
you
a
have
fetch
the
shock
option.
to 14.
Right. Again, not being able to see Sydney's hand, it's difficult to say
What's going on?
what's going on
Yeah.
here. But pretty typical Jund things.
Yeah. And he's got a Tarmogoyf here, so that Tarmogoyf is a 3/4.
Yep.
All right. Well, Sean needs to come up with an out to a 3/4 Tarmogoyf, and being a rug deck, not sure how likely that is.
Yeah. Sean fetching for Island here. So if I'm sitting in Sydney's position, this screams to me
Blood Moon.
Blood Moon.
Blood Moon. What a card, guys.
Especially like this is a end of turn fetch for Island.
Right.
This is the most suspicious thing I
have ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blood Moon. Very powerful hate card. A lot of people are upset that it's in Modern. It's fine, I guess. Sean drew a Huntmaster of the Fells, which is not going to do anything for a while.
right.
He's at 19 as well. Blackcleave Cliffs here. Great land. And Inquisition. Ooh, that's going to miss the Huntmaster, though.
Yeah, so Sean's...
And he's going to get to flash in his Snapcaster. Ooh.
Sydney's going to miss on this Inquisition. But at the same time, like... you don't feel terrible, right?
No,
Like
of
you
course
know,
not.
you know your opponent's hand is complete nonsense.
And by nonsense, you just mean a bunch of lands.
Yeah, and Huntmaster. I mean, he does have the turn 4 Huntmaster.
Yeah, I mean, Huntmaster, not ideal against a Goyf, but...
Yeah.
And the Goyf, still a 3-4 here, so, Sean is not at imminent risk of dying right away.
Having to play Snapcaster as a 2/1 never feels great.
Yeah, but there's nothing in the graveyard. It's the most value that he's going to get out of this. Ooh, Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this was this is a play that Sean has to make, else you just lose it.
Yeah.
But,
All right, I see.
You play Snapcaster to get value, and this is
That's
decidedly
doing the opposite of getting value.
This is decidedly not value.
Ooh, they have a Tarmogoyf dice of Sean's. Yes, pointing back and forth there. Thank you guys. We do appreciate that visual help. Now, Sean drawing a Spire Bluff Canal there. It looks like he's got a Mana Leak in hand. So I don't know, because the Scooz attacks is a 3/3 because it eats Sean's Goyf.
Yeah, so
He's gonna attack with Snapcaster here. This I like this play from him.
So if Sydney chooses to eat the,
I guess it shrinks the Goyf, right?
it shrinks the Goyf. So you're attacking for 5 regardless here.
Yeah. Barring removal on the snap or something. Ooh, Raging Ravine though, good draw.
Okay. So the Mana Leak's surprisingly a good draw here because regardless of what Sydney does here, it's going to shut it down.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this just counters the next spell that Sydney has, barring like Abrupt Decay. So welcome to the Space Jam. Just attacking with the Scavenging Ooze. Gonna put Sean to 11.
Okay. Now I think in a position like this, I'm happy racing.
Sure. Pass back to Sean. He's just gonna. I think he just plays Huntmaster the Fells.
You kind of have to, right?
Why wouldn't you? I guess you want to. Yeah, like you don't.
You can
wanna,
hold a Mana Leak,
but then he has a Raging Ravine. He doesn't care about casting spells anymore.
Right. Yeah. So in a position like this, I think I would have preferred to attack by Sydney. You're really pressuring Sean's life total.
I 100% agree with you.
And it's just nothing you can really get blown out by.
Oh no, this is a rug deck. They don't play real removal.
Right. I mean, you have bolts and stuff, but if you bolt the Scavenging Ooze, that's fine. And you're not going to eat anything with the Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah.
To shrink the Goyf.
Right. And so yeah, Sean does have Blood Moons in his deck, as we just saw in his look through there. Gonna tap 4. Gonna cast a Huntmaster of the Fells. Bring it up on the right here. Used to be sort of the 4-drop all-star in.
Yeah, the original choice was: do you want to play Huntmasters or do you want to play Olivia Voldaren?
Right. Obviously, both have fallen out of favor, and for everyone's favorite vampire, Kalidas. But
yeah, or just P and K kind of had this moment in the sun as well.
Yep. Okay, so Sydney is going to eat here. This does shrink the Goyf, so Sydney probably needs to have some sort of removal to get his Tarmogoyf up to like a reasonable level here. Take a draw. He does have a land, so Raging Ravine is online, which is sort of beyond the capability of Sean to deal with at the moment.
So it looks like Sydney definitely has a bolt.
All right, so the Goyf is now just a 4/5.
Yeah, standard size for Goyf, 4/5.
Get there.
Having a little trouble finding the 4.
Slam.
Okay, and
serve.
Yep.
This is an attack for 7 now.
Sean also doesn't really have a good. Sean, I mean, he can double block here, but that's just traits.
Yeah, but I mean, getting the Scooz off the table is like the best you can hope to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Sydney with the ability to eat the Huntmaster will not be able to grow it out of the range of the two power blockers.
Okay. Looks like Sydney isn't going to do anything else with his mana, so might as well gain to life.
And Sean going to take 4, go to 8.
No, Sean is going to take 3.
Oh, you're right.
All right, and now Goyf grows back up.
Huh. Interesting.
But I mean, that is an important consideration here. Sydney needing to fetch here. Next turn, he's going to have Raging Ravine active.
Yeah, and that is an attack for almost lethal, correct?
Right. And this is why I would have preferred to attack the turn prior with the Goyf.
Yeah.
It's just like the margins are very thin with this deck, and you really want to be pressuring their life total.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I don't know. What does Sean have off the top to draw out of this? Because there's no.
So the problem is he hasn't cast anything exciting. So even like Goblin Dark Dwellers isn't going to draw him out of this.
Right, of course. So, yep, Raging Ravine, Red Zone. Okay, he does have a Cryptic. He can tap draw Sydney's team.
Right. And that's certainly going to be the best play here. I would be very uncomfortable being at 1 against a deck with bolts.
Yes. Yeah, definitely considering it here. I mean, this is just, this is like fog.
Yeah. Sean also has the option of tapping and bouncing the Goyf to really put Sydney behind.
He's just going to draw a card. He drew Basic Forest, which is not ideal for him.
And Sydney has not played a land this turn. We'll see if he does.
Draws like another Hunt S something. He drew something that's multicolored. I'm guessing it's another Huntmaster, but I can't be sure. I mean, I'm not sure how good it is here. It just makes a 2/2. Is there an Ancient Grudge in Sydney's hand? Cubs fan pointed this out way early. Yeah, but it looks like Sydney has an Ancient Grudge in his hand. And I wonder if that's like what is that doing there?
I mean, Sean has shown Batterskull.
Or Vidalcan Shackles, I guess.
Or but this can't be I mean, this could be a Shackles.
Okay. Here's an attack.
Yeah, Sydney's gonna take the opportunity while the going's good to get that counter.
To be fair though, this will let Sean flip the Huntmaster.
Yeah, this is not going to be inconsequential.
Yeah, right player gonna go to 7. Yep. Okay. So yep, Sean just hoping to hit something off the top. Does get the flip trigger here. Gonna put Sydney to 11.
Also putting 2 damage on the Goyf, but I don't.
Sure.
It probably doesn't matter too much.
I mean, if he draws Bolt, it's an outright.
Yeah.
It looks like he didn't draw Bolt. Looks like he drew some sort of land. Yeah.
It looks like he's got Mana Leak and Stomping Ground.
Oh, and this Ravager of the Fells is tragically outsized by both the Raging Ravine and the Tarmogoyf. And swing. Just gotta trade it for. Just gotta chump here, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, but the Goyf, he will trade. No, he won't trade with the Goyf.
He won't trade with anything. This is just a straight
just
chump.
Chump block. All
go
right.
to 3.
Go to 2. This is a 5/5.
Oh yeah, I would have perhaps preferred the block on the other one.
Yeah.
But Sean in quite rough shape.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he does get to Mana Leak a Grim Lavamancer. What did he draw? It's a blue card.
It's a blue card. I think.
Oh, it's a click.
It's a click. Presumably has to click himself.
He can't do it. He only has a land.
You can. Oh, yeah.
You can't click your own lands away.
This is true.
He's gonna target him. Yep, that's legitimately an Ancient Grudge.
Yeah,
I am very confused. But also, Sean is just dead on the next swing.
Yeah, Sean must have shown.
Vidalcan Shackles or Battle Skull.
Yeah.
Weird. But Sean also had his Ancient Grudge. So what is Sydney doing?
Yeah. There are no artifacts in this Jund list.
Yeah, because you talked to him beforehand, right?
Yeah. Well, also because this is my list.
Oh, this is your list. Okay.
There are no artifacts in this deck.
Maybe Sydney just swapped into that young Batterskull life, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Untap here for Sydney. He should just, turn creature sideways, right?
Animate first, then turn creature sideways.
Okay, you know what I mean. Sean playing games with that one card left in his hand.
Unfortunately, Snapcaster's not even alive. There's just literally nothing in the graveyard that's exciting.
There gets. Oh yeah, you're right. And there's gonna be a bolt from Sydney. Yep, Sean gonna give him the hand as Jund takes it down. Over Rug. To be fair, given that Sean mulled to 5, he put up quite a fight.
Yeah, I mean double Huntmaster would do that. Double Huntmaster just a good card.
Yeah, for sure.
The only downside, it's a little clunky.
It's a little slow. It's not very big.
But considering that Sean was, kind of in rough shape, that was exactly the card he needed.
Absolutely.
Fortunately, just wasn't quite enough.
Yep. So 2-1. Jund gonna take it over this Rug build. Yeah, and I mean, I think there, we just see the discard being extremely effective against the Rug deck. Not letting his Tarmogoyf get on the board, and the Rug deck not really having a good way to deal with big resolved threats. Yeah, so Sean boarded Ancient Grudge, boarded Spell Pierce, boarded Negate in.
All of these cards but one seem reasonable.
I think you need to go find out what the Ancient Grudges were doing.
Step outside and see what is going on here.
Dan has left the booth, guys, on a valiant mission to determine just what the heck those Ancient Grudges were doing. Because not only did the Jund player have them, but the Rug player had them too. And quite frankly, that makes no sense. Yeah. Cubs fan, maybe they agreed to put in as many dead cards as possible. Honestly, that makes as much sense as anything I've come up with so far. There is almost no reason, actual no reason, 100% no reason. I don't know. What is the Ancient Grudge doing? This is an unresolved mystery for the evening. Although hopefully Dan helps us out with what's going on. And Dan's back. What's the deal, Dan? Give me the straight word on why those cards were in those decks.
All right, so we can throw it back to the booth here
Yeah.
while they're sideboarding here. So it was not a mistake. Both players had their own reasons for boarding it.
Okay.
Ancient Grudge. Sean boarded it in because he saw Sydney with Grafdigger's Cage, and made the argument that it was better than like Dispel or something.
Okay.
I would argue that I would probably rather have a Dispel because you can
Against Jund, it's like Bolt, right?
It's Bolt. It's Terminate. Like these aren't terrible targets, right? Saving your Goy for 1 mana is like pretty good.
That's true.
But so that was his reasoning, and Sydney saw Engineered Explosives.
Oh, okay, yeah, and Cubs fan in the chat predicting that quite accurately. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it.
Also, I mean, personally, a little too narrow for me.
Yeah.
Especially given just like
what you have to take out.
I mean, if you had more than one target, or if there were 4 Engineered Explosives, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a problem of like boarding in cards like if you're just playing against a Snapcaster deck, do you board in Grafdigger's Cage?
Right.
And usually the answer is no.
Yeah.
But if they're doing like multiple things, with their library, with their graveyard, then
if they
you
have
can board in Grafdiggers.
like against Snapcaster, Jeskai, Nahiri decks, you absolutely bring Grafdiggers because then they can't Emrakul you.
Right, and then that's you have a little more justification for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the reasoning there. Obviously, they both felt that there was there were a lot of dead cards here in the matchup, and that was kind of their one like flex spot.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though, it looks like round 2 has fired, so we're gonna go and find a match to put on camera for you guys. It looks like we're gonna try to get Paul Green and Matthew Stafford.
Not the Lions quarterback, by the way.
Not the Lions quarterback.
Matthew Stafford does not play Magic on the north side of Chicago. He is too busy leading game-winning touchdown drives to do that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sports reference on an MTG broadcast, but yeah.
Hey, a lot of Cubs references today.
Yeah, a lot of Cubs references. We have Cubs fan 134, very active participant in our chat every Wednesday. Cubs fan, can we get a Cubs update? I am interested to know how they're doing. I live in Chicago. I'm not really a huge baseball fan, but if the Cubs are in the World Series, you sort of want to know, right? At least, yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people in the city have the opinion of even if you're not a Cubs fan, you're a Chicago fan.
You're a Chicago fan, and
right,
you have to root for the Cubs.
Absolutely.
Unless you've literally lived as a White Sox fan your whole life.
Obama recently actually gave an interview. Obama, notably a big White Sox fan, but despite the Cubs not being his team, is also on the train of support your hometown.
Shocking. I mean, given the White Sox results, I can't really blame them.
Hey, they have won much more recently than the Cubs.
You're not wrong. 5-0 Cubs, top of the 5th. All right, Cubs fan. Well, that is good news for this city.
But that's fine. It's not that the Indians are losing. The Indians, this is just extended BM.
Yeah.
You let your opponent be up 5, so it feels that much worse for them when they
Are
lose.
you seriously arguing for the Cleveland Indians right now, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. They are just sandbagging.
They are just sandbagging.
Just sandbagging.
Wow. I thought I would never never see the day. Yeah, and Gibbisem, this is the first time since 1945. It's been a while.
There's always a lot of funny sayings you can do with the Cubs. Like last time they won the World Series, the Ottoman Empire was a thing.
Blah blah. We heard it all.
All of the things.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? The Cubs have been getting BM'd by the rest of the baseball world for so long that maybe it's time for them to find happy success, right?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to root for an underdog, right? But barring them being, atrocious or generally repulsive. People just generally root for the underdog.
Absolutely. The thing is, though, is like Cleveland is the second longest drought for the World Series.
Yeah, but they have the Cavs, right?
They do have the that's the thing, right?
I guess Chicago has the Blackhawks as well. So
Yeah. Oh man, go Blackhawks or something.
Chicago just on our they just rotate which sport is good.
Apparently,
Yeah.
I mean, Blackhawks 3 Stanley Cups in the last 6 years. That's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, the Bulls had their time in the sun in the 90s.
Yeah,
White Sox won in like 04 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get back into the Magic here. Paul Green versus Matthew Stafford. Not sure what either of them are on, so we're gonna leave that as placeholders for the moment.
Yeah. A true surprise.
Indeed, I am excited to have to frantically manage the overlay as we get into this one. But yeah, we will see. I think Paul won the roll. He's gonna look at his hand. He's got red cards. He's got blue cards. And on the left, we have a lot of red and green cards with okay, so it looks like Burn versus something.
Sure, Matt. Very clearly on Burn with Monastery Swift Spear and Boros Reckoner.
He has the sweet Burn land base of turn 1. He has a very sweet Boros land base of turn 1 Copperline Gorge into turn 2 Sacred Foundry. My Nakatal's a 3/3. Which
Sure,
is like,
why not?
Which is like the sort of painless, or like much less painful than fetch hacking. But did he just mulligan that hand?
He might have.
I guess he only had 1 burn spell and like 3 lands, but
I think it might have been 4 lands.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's
at
probably
4 lands I can get
reasonable.
behind them all again.
Yeah. Also, yeah, and guys, just so you know, between this round and the next round, when we kick it back up to the booth, Dan has in his possession 4 Monastery Swift Spears altered with pictures of Taylor Swift. They are the Taylor Swift Spears. Dan Dwan is their not so proud owner, I would imagine.
Not so proud. They're fantastic.
Yeah, he's got some stuff. Okay, so that looks like a Bedlam Reveler. Oh yeah, Paul, go deep.
Paul has the Bedlam Reveler. Matt doesn't have it.
No. Paul has a Bedlam Reveler.
Okay. Paul's on Thing in the Ice.
Yes, Thing in the Ice. This is what I wanted.
Sure. So
I'm a huge Thing in the Ice player, guys. It's one of my fatal flaws.
So Matt, looking at a Boros Charm in hand,
He doesn't have white
top,
mana or fetch, yeah.
has to bottom it because his
Mana won't support
mana
it.
will not cooperate.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Bedlam Reveler, obviously very exciting. Is this the Jeskai Thing in the Ice list with Revelers and stuff?
Looks like it.
Or it's that like Suicide Blue list. Paul here, let's see. So he's got a Spire Bluff Canal, obviously very good, and that is the deck's name's like. Best card is quite good against a wild Nakatal. Oh, and he rips the Sacred Foundry too. Oh man, so this Nakatal is going to be a 3/3, but it's not going to be
But I mean, Matt's gonna take 2 here, play the Sacred Foundry. You can't block with Thing in the Ice. Like you can't block.
I guess.
Like
I don't know.
you just get blown out by
you get
too
blown
many
out
things.
by a lot of things. You're right. He has an Atargus command in hand, for example. So
Yeah.
Paul probably just says no blocks here. Takes 8.
Yeah.
or
If you
takes 7.
lose this Thing in the Ice, how do you win this game? Right. You're
you
so
don't.
far behind.
Yeah.
And Bedlam Reveler, let's keep in mind, you actually need to have a lot of instants in your graveyards for it to be a reasonable price.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so this is like so this is like what we're gonna just call this Jeskai Reveler.
Just kind of thing.
Jeskai Thing Reveler.
I have the feeling that there might be 4 Thing in the Ices, but maybe
and Boros Charm. So
Yep.
Paul gonna go to 13. That's pretty good.
yeah.
Hit you for a lot. Paul probably looking for some sort of Gataxian Probe.
So
okay.
slight misstep. Oh no, excuse me. That was fine.
So we're looking at 9 points of burn plus whatever the Nakatal can continue to do.
Atarka really is like 4 points, right? So
I'm counting Atarka as 3 plus.
plus 1.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I guess it's like 10 points of burn plus
10
whatever
points of
Nakatal
burn
does.
plus.
Paul
3
draws
and
another Gataxian Probe here. Not a lot of action, but Thing in the Ice is a very fast clock to end the game. Should it come to that?
And the problem with Gataxian Probe is usually it's a free way to trigger Thing in the Ice, but like
it's not free right now. That is a Kiln Fiend.
Yeah.
He is on like Jeskai so it's a list called Suicide Blue,
Mm-hmm.
but this one looks like it's in Jeskai colors. Wow. Yeah, looks good. He's got a Kiln Fiend in there. I think there's a Manamorphose. Oh my gosh, Manamorphose on my Kiln Fiend. Let's go.
Right. So Matt, kind of disincentivized from playing the Grim Lava Man. So there's a very good chance Paul's going to flip this.
There's a block. Oh boy.
Yeah. So Matt,
I would have Tarka's command here
just
for
snap
sure.
off the target's command. Right?
Just pray to the Lord that he doesn't have like mutagenic or something.
But even then, that's fine, right?
That's not fine.
You still could reasonably race that.
Sure. A Tarka's command, gonna hit the table. And
We'll see if
okay, so he's gonna mutagenic in response, pay 2, so he's gonna take what, like 5?
he's going to take 5 here, but he's not importantly not going to lose his
Thing in the ice.
thing is
He does get to flip it next turn with
unless
any spell. Yeah.
Matt just goes ahead and
Bolts it. Oh, please do. Oh no, he's gonna play the Lavamancer. That does not seem good to me.
I'm really not a fan of this play here. You know that the thing is almost certainly going to flip.
Yeah.
And that means you wasted the last mana.
I mean, the thing is Paul's at 7, and Matt has 6 points of burn.
Right.
So and they're also critically 2 1-mana spells. If Matt draws a 1-mana burn spell, he just wins the game regardless of the fact that the thing flipped.
Oh no, absolutely.
He could draw Swift Spear. No, he can't draw Swift Spear. That'll get blocked. Jesgeist Reveler. Good suggestion in the chat from Gibbsm. All right, here comes the thing in the ice. It's gonna flip. Yeah. I actually really like the Bolt Your Thing in the Ice play. Especially now that Paul like.
It's weird to say that burn can go long, but against this deck,
sure, why not?
There's just so few threats in this thing deck.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
If you have an opportunity,
Crunch. Having flipped multiple Thing in the Ice in Standard and in Modern, I'm extremely happy with what's going on. Also, Matt is actually dead next turn if he does not win.
Absolutely. So he's got 1 turn to do this.
I think he drew another Lavamancer.
He drew another Lavamancer, so he can.
Oh, he can run out the Lavamancer. Well, it depends on Paul. No, Paul's a Bolt.
So
you have to block the Kiln Fiend. You take 7, you get bolted. So
I like the play of play your Lavamancer, play your Grim Lavamancer, and Lava Spike.
Lavamancer, Lava Spike.
Lavamancer, Nakado.
Lavamancer, Nakado, not Lava Spike.
Because Nakado will trade with the Kiln Fiend.
Yeah, I like that too. We'll see if Matt finds that line.
Right.
He's got the first part.
All right. This just utilizes your mana the best. Gives you a couple of blockers.
I think you want those blockers real bad.
Right.
Oh, that's a bolt though.
Ooh. All right. So Matt is putting himself dead to removal.
Which Paul has.
Yeah. I think especially if you.
Yeah, because the Kiln Fiend is a big thing now.
The Kiln Fiend will be
Fiend's
enormous.
a 4/2. Oh, bop.
Yep.
Beep, boop, dead.
And this would be lethal here.
Suicide Blue, or Jeskai Blue, I guess, taking him down. I'm really interested to see Paul's list. I should probably buy Kiln Fiends, right, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm going to take back what I previously said. I think I would have preferred the play all 3 creatures. That means it's likely that one of your Lavamancers is going to live, and if one lives, you have enough burn in hand just to win the game.
True.
This also means that you don't die to removal, because you're not going to die from the Awakened Horror. You're going to die from the Kiln Fiend. Because Paul is unlikely to have 4 points in hand.
Right.
So if you play all 3 creatures, Kiln Fiend gets blocked.
Yeah.
It 100% will get blocked. And that means you don't die. And then you should have lethal on the swing back here.
Also, looking at Kiln Fiend here on the right, yep, so whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, Kiln Fiend gets +3/+0 till end of turn. If you flip a thing in the ice and then you play Kiln Fiend or whatever, right, like your opponent is super pressured. I've seen also this deck plays Temur Battle Rage, I think, so you can make your Kiln Fiend like a 7/7 and then or like a 7/2
and then
Battle Rage him for 14.
And no, Battle Rage makes it a.
Oh yeah, Battle Rage makes it 20/20. Yeah, makes it a 10/10 that double strikes. Like this list has seen a lot of play recently. My friend Nick, who's sort of more in tune with the meta than I am at any given point in time, was telling me that he's played against this a bit on MTGO lately. And this deck also has a Storm Chaser Mage in it. Okay. Although I'm not sure if Paul has that.
Right.
I thought I just saw a Simian Spirit Guide. I'm gonna pretend that I didn't see that. Right. I don't think that's real.
So Kiln Fiend also was surprisingly good in this matchup, but normally shouldn't be because just the 2 toughness. you know, it does get wrecked by a lot of things. Matt also had the line of, play Nikado, play Grim Lavamancer, Bolt.
Bolt your Kiln Fiend.
That
seems really good too.
Because that means you're not like obligated into a block, and now all of a sudden you have just 5 on board.
Yeah.
Plus 8 the 3 points in hand, which is also lethal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, like Burn, one would think it's a linear deck, but there's a surprising number of lines you can take.
Yeah. No, I think that I think I preferred a lot of different lines there, but I think those lines are also like relatively easy to miss.
And not necessarily correct either.
Yeah. I'm not sure, because we don't know what was on the top of Matt's deck, and we also don't know sort of what he thought Paul was representing. One of the things that this Jeskai deck, or this, like, Thing Reveler deck has going for it...
Ooh, that is the Simian Spirit. No, that's Blood Moons.
That's Blood Moons, okay.
One
of the things this deck has going for it is nobody knows what's going on.
Right.
I played, like, a sort of similar variant of this deck with the Jeskai Thing Ascension, where you play Pyromancer's Ascension and a bunch of Lightning Helixes. And when you play against people, if they're not super familiar with Storm, which hasn't been around in the meta for a while, like, they just don't know what's going on. They have no idea what to do. Right. And this deck is even more off the grid than that one, because that one, like, won a GP, or like did really well at a GP and like won a WMCQ and stuff. So like people are like, oh, Thing Ascension like could be a real deck, but this one just is coming up on MTGO right now. So I would, people in the paper meta who don't play MTGO probably haven't seen this deck, and when you just suddenly get like Teamer Battle Rage mutagenic from this Kiln Fiend.
Oh, absolutely. Kiln Fiend can lead to some disgusting.
You can kill them turn 3.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Turn 2 Kiln Fiend and 2 mutagenics and no, even 1 mutagenic.
1 mutagenic.
One mutagenic makes it 6, and then Atarka makes it 9, so 18.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, not
Battle
Atarka,
Rage.
Battle Rage.
Yeah.
But I mean that's a lot.
Yeah. Arbear, I think the white in the list is probably for something along the lines of sideboard cards. You get access to good white sideboard cards. There might be Path to Exiles on the side, and the other thing that comes to mind is there might be Lightning Helixes. I didn't see any Lightning Helixes though, so I would guess that it's like 1 Hallowed Fountain and all of the white cards are side.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to keep in note also that Matt Stafford may not have been aware of is that there's no counter magic in this deck.
Right.
He was playing a lot of instants at sorcery speed. You saw him play the Boros Charm on turn 2, the Lightning Bolt last turn. You can just leave all of that up.
Yeah. So if we look at hands here, so Matt with a bit of a tough choice to make, because he has like a 1-lander, and he can't cast all spells, but like he has a path, so like that could be good. He also has a Searing Blaze, which if he draws another land is a really, really good way to kill Kiln Fiends.
Yeah, and I mean, these are the decisions that you have to make on the burn deck, right?
Right.
If you draw another land,
this hand is nuts. Oh,
yeah,
he's keeping.
Absolutely. If you
Matthew Stafford has no fear, just like the Lions quarterback. This dude is going in. Gonna go to 17. Off the Shockland.
I'm gonna be honest with you here. I don't know much about the Lions past their 0-16 season.
Okay, well, this year Matthew Stafford leads fourth quarter comebacks is what happens. So we've got turn 1 Swift Spear, naturally.
Yeah. So
and swing.
So Matt's got probably a 2-turn window to draw the second land. Past
Before
that,
he loses the game.
Yeah, past that, he's probably a little bit too far behind.
Oh, Simian Spirit Guide, turn 1 thing in the ice. Let's go! Off a Spire Bluff Canal. Oh man, I don't think he drew it either.
He did not. But if Matt drew,
he's gonna path this.
He's gonna path this.
Ooh, yeah, that's quite good.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a 2/3.
Yeah, just talk for 2.
I mean,
Paul's again. The Thing deck is very, very light on threats. You can dig pretty deep, and you're very land light. But you also have very few threats.
Yeah, your threats are Kiln Fiend, Bedlam. I guess like this list probably isn't playing Swift Spear because we haven't seen it. Wow, turn 1 thing. Oh, he drew another thing. Oh, what an animal! And he has a Swan Song in hand. Oh, call the police. This is brutal. All right, here we go. Matt draws a bolt, so he's got 2 bolts in hand. So swing, block, bolt your thing. I guess it gets Swan Songed.
But again, like I don't hate that, right? A 2/2 bird is actually kind of difficult to deal with.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, here we go.
Yeah, this is absolutely a free attack.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now the question is there a block? Bum, 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 bum. I don't think he's going to block.
Okay, so then Matt's
Bolt your
just going
face.
to deal 5
Paul's
here.
going to go 12, yep.
Paul's debating whether or not he wants to Swan Song this right now.
Okay. Oh, you're right.
If he Swan Songs, he saves himself 3 points now.
Mm-hmm. But then he gives him the bird.
Right.
So he's gonna
Which
go
isn't
14.
going to matter if Paul can flip this quickly.
Yeah. Especially, the Swan Song helping towards that end.
So long
so
as
he was at 17. He's going to take 1 from the fetch and 2 from the Swiss Spear, go to 14?
Correct.
Okay.
So long as Paul doesn't take
Oh.
two hits from the bird, this is a life positive.
Yeah. He also, Paul has a Manamorphose in hand, which is an insane card at flipping Thing in the Ice, because it's just, it's a free spell, right?
Absolutely.
Oh no. So Paul can go Manamorphose, Faithless Looting, flip my Thing in the Ice, Teamer Battle Rage it.
Yep, and just that should be enough to win the game, right?
No, it's only 14 damage.
Oh, right. Yeah. Still fine.
I mean, I guess you can block 2 points of that with your bird token, but Manamorphose trigger, make some mana.
Yep. Importantly, this is going to make. This is going to mean that. Matt is going to be drawing
he's
really
gonna
thin.
bounce his whole hand.
Yeah,
and he got rid of the bird too.
Right. So importantly,
Goes to 3.
when Paul casts this, the Thing in the Ice is going to flip first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now Matt is drawing very, very thin here.
He has to replay the Sorcerer as a blocker.
He almost has to have a Path to Exile here.
He doesn't have another one though. He already used it, and
Right.
Paul has a third Thing in his hand. Thing in the Ice, more like Thing in the hand here. What's he gonna do?
I mean,
you have to play the
you
blocker.
have to play a chump blocker.
There's
yeah.
a 7/8 awoken horror staring down at you from across the battlefield.
But Paul has the Vapor Snag in hand. So
Does he?
Yep.
Oh, what a merciless
Just not going to
dude.
matter here.
Whew. Pick it up and get blitzed. Paul Green gonna win it 2-0 over with Jeskai, Thing in the Ice, Bedlam Reveler, Kiln Fiend, Deck. Gonna take it down over Burn. Woo! Thing in the Ice won the Pro Tour, won a match at MTG Card Market. Clearly this card is off the chain, you guys. Jeez. Yeah, so there we just see this, the Suicide Blue, or, Thing Reveler, whatever you want to call it, really performing to the full extent of its capabilities. That was extremely impressive. Yeah, wow. Holy moly. The Simian Spirit Guide, definitely a spicy little addition there. Turn 1 Thing in the Ice, I mean, it seems good. Like, how do you lose, right? Like, I have my guy out on turn 1. Everything I play after this is going to be awesome. Simian Spirit Guide also allowing for blowout stuff like exile this and flip my thing like mid-combat to a bolt, which you weren't expecting. Like, obviously, like, there's sometimes when it's, not very good, but I would say that right there, that was a pretty good use of everyone's, favorite card that they want, that a lot of people want to not be in Modern right now. But then you want to have dope plays like turn 1, Thing in the Ice. So here's Simian Spirit Guide, for those of you unfamiliar. Remove Simian Spirit Guide in your hand from the game, add red to your mana pool. So, it's basically like a one-off land drop. It's like a red Lotus Petal that you can do from your hand instead of making Storm Count with it. Obviously not every deck wants this sort of acceleration, but this Jeskai Thing Reveler, turn 1 Thing in the Ice, guys. I can't say it any clearer than that. Also, if you turn 1 a Kiln Fiend, and you go turn 2, you go Mutagenic, Battle Rage. Hold on, let me think about this. So Mutagenic makes it into a power 6. Battle Rage makes it into a power 9. So if, theoretically, you could kill them turn 2 with a Kiln Fiend if you have the right sequences.
If you have a Simian Spirit Guide for turn 1.
Yeah, so you turn 1 the Kiln Fiend, and then you have to have free spell free spell Temur Battle Rage. So who is this?
This is Matt Barbusho versus Dan Cherkasky.
All right, so we're getting the Bant Spirits deck again.
Yes, this is Bant Spirits versus Mardu Aristocrats.
Ooh, okay, Mardu Aristocrats, very nice.
Yep.
All right, so let's see. Left player, Matt. All right, Matt Barbuccio. And on the right we have... And what game is this?
This is game 2. Matt is up a game here.
All right, so Matt is up a game. Bant Spirits versus Mardu Aristocrats. I'm unfamiliar with the Mardu Aristocrats deck. Do you have any insight on what it's trying to do? Like, how aristocrat-y are we talking?
I'm not actually sure here.
Okay.
I do see that Matt has, Path to Exile in hand, which, just excellent, regardless of what's happening here. I see a Duress, a Balt.
That's a Shadow of Doubt, Daniel.
Oh, that is a
That's
Shadow
a Shadow of Doubt. Shadow of Doubt. Favorite card of Matt and Dan in the booth here. Mostly because it's not actually that good, but when you get people with it, you 100% just dominate people.
This is Shadow of Doubt on the play. If Matt
if
Matt plays a fetch land and then doesn't crack it,
it's over.
this could be a pretty brutal beating.
And there's going to be a Duress.
All right. So Duress notably is not going to take it's not going to take any card other than Path to Exile.
I'm surprised that Duress is in postboard. I guess you can hit company with it, though, which is kind of big.
Right. And I guess that's the one big upside over Inquisition Kozilek. Although, to be fair, Inquisition does take pretty much every creature.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt seeing Droxcall Captain, Phantasmal Image, Geistis Inkdraft, and 3 lands.
These cards are really good, Dan.
Yeah, Phantasmal.
Because Phantasmal Image with Drogskull is a nutty combo.
Yeah, all of a sudden the downside is just not there anymore.
You know it. So, Misty Pass. Oh, please. Oh, please.
Please.
Oh, by the...
So, you don't, you don't necessarily have...
Fetch. In response, yes! Yes!
Shut up!
Yes! Yes! Oh, no! Oh, Matt gets Stone Rained and loses a life. And Dan gets a draw card. Botanical Sanctum into Mausoleum Wanderer is going to sort of make up for the disaster that just occurred. But, oh my god, we saw it on camera. Ladies and gentlemen, we have over 100 people watching the stream, and we also have a Shadow of Doubt being cast. This is the best way to get into MTG Card Market Magic votes. That was a Shadow of Doubt. That took Matt Barbuccio's first land. He's going to pass the turn back. Dan, gonna play a Bloodstained Mire, tap 2 mana, and is that a Zulaport?
This looks like a Zulaport Cutthroat.
Zulaport Cutthroat, everybody.
Okay.
Standard All-Star. That's not what I want.
Not this one. So seeing Zulaport Cutthroat in this deck leads me to believe that there might be Rally the Ancestors in the deck as well.
Woo! Rally the Ancestors. That's a card.
Right. So Rally. So a lot of playing Standard. In Modern though, you get 8 Blood Artist effects, right? Because you can actually play Blood Artist.
For sure.
And Blood Artist notably triggers on your opponent's creatures dying as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, so you get double the value. But yeah, I've certainly seen a bunch of aristocrats, a bunch of these aristocrats Blood Artist effects die, and then all of a sudden
you take a lot of damage.
You just rally them back, and when they all die. From your Viscera Seer or something like that.
For sure.
This just drains for an immense amount of damage.
Yeah. So here, this is interesting. So Matt played a Phantasmal Image to copy his Wanderer, and even though he theoretically, could counter this bolt by sacking, it targets the Phantasmal Image, which is going to cause it to sack itself.
Right.
Which is, gets it off the table. Didn't save it for the double Drogskull play. Maybe just thinking that was a little bit too slow. So in hand here we have a couple lands and another Zulaport. Matt here going to go to 15 in the face of some Zulaport Cutthroating. Right. Wooded Foothills and probably just another Cutthroat.
Another Cutthroat. Yep.
Ding ding.
So it looks like despite getting the best possible Shadow of Doubt, knowing that Matt had a fair number of lands in hand wasn't backbreaking. Right. If your opponent kept a 2-lander and all of a sudden
they're on 1 land.
They're on 1 land.
Oh, he missed a land drop though.
Did he?
He
it
didn't
looks
play
like
his
he
land,
did.
and Dan is fetching EOT.
It looks like he did.
Shadow of Doubt, guys. Best
Shadow
card.
of Doubt.
Every deck play sets of its stat. But okay, being facetious aside here, this is really bad for Matt.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you do?
Muslim Wanderer, you really don't want to have to chump block with it. Now, Dan has to be careful about a potential flash in of Rattle Chains,
I guess.
which could make Muslim and 2/2 at instant speed. But I mean,
You're just gonna push dudes sideways. I mean,
Yeah.
you could play Rattle Chain and kill a Cutthroat, but you're still taking 2 damage and stuff.
Yeah.
And that Doom Traveler.
It is a Doom Traveler.
All right. End of turn. There's gonna be Rattle Chains here.
Yep. So yeah, Martyr Aristocrats.
Matt draws another 3-drop.
Yeah.
Serves for 3.
All right, so this Shadow of Doubt potentially MVP here.
I'm a huge fan.
The most exciting part though is that Shadow of Doubt is hybrid blue black.
Right. No one expects
No one
the
expects that
black.
off a double black. Yeah.
The black Shadow of Doubt. I love it. I'm such a fan.
Yeah, because like sometimes some of the blue decks might play it. Like at worst, it cycles.
Ooh, Colligan's command here.
Colligan's command gonna
Kill your Rattle Chains, make you discard?
yeah, it doesn't look like Dan has anything to return.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So he's actually not going to take the damage, I guess? Or is that end of turn? I can't tell.
This is going to be end of turn. It's going to be shock and discard.
Yep.
And then Matt had the option to second Muslim Wanderer, but unfortunately...
Dan had a fetch land up.
Unfortunately, yeah, Dan had just infinite mana.
Mm-hmm. And by infinite, you mean like 3, 4.
I mean, three rounds to infinite.
That's true. Good point, Dan.
Okay.
So, yeah, Dan going to fetch here. So, actually, Dan, is a little bit down in life total, but he is going to start catching. He's going to start racing pretty hard here. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. That Shadow of Doubt, though, Dan. What a card.
Matt bemoaning the fact that Mausoleum Wanderer is a 1/1 that would be so much better with a Mausoleum, with Lords,
Yeah.
with really anything.
Honestly, anything. Yep, you're just going to get hit by 3 1/1s this turn.
Mm-hmm.
And going to tap 3 lands and cast a Lingering Souls.
Oh,
yeah.
Flashback of Lingering Souls.
All right.
Who's the spirit deck now?
That's a good question, Dan. I don't really know anymore.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what card I really like? Zealous Persecution.
So this makes it very, very difficult.
Ooh, he drew a land. You drew a land.
Yeah. So the problem here, though, is your blocks are even bad, right? Because
Yeah.
if any of these spirits die, you're getting drained for 2.
Yeah. Okay, so Matt, I think, has a Queller, which he can try to use, but there was just a bolt drawn. So hopefully Dan doesn't run the bolt into the Queller, because that's how you kill the Queller.
Right.
Here's the fetch. Okay, so this is gonna be rough because Matt's gonna try to block with a Spell Queller and it's gonna die.
No. If I was, Dan has the option. So the big thing is Mausoleum Wanderer is going to get a little bigger here, and will not just straight die to something.
Okay.
But in this scenario, Matt is going to take 3, get drained for 4, and then be bolted to death.
Okay, so he's gonna take 3 damage, go to 6.
Go to 6.
And he's also gonna take 2 from the death triggers. Dan's gonna go to 13.
No, 2 things died, so he's going to take 4.
Oh, you're right.
And then he's just going to die to a bolt.
Wow. All right, Martyr Aristocrats, guys, going ham,
Right.
taking down Bant Spirits in an insane game with Shadow of Doubt involved.
Right, and this is kind of the problem we saw with people playing against Zelaport Cutthroat in Standard.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that Zelaport was like that fantastic of a card in itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's that it made big boards very difficult because
Right.
all of a sudden, if a lot of things start dying, you're getting drained regardless.
Right, and the other thing is like obviously 2 is better than 1 here with Zulaport Cutthroat, but people don't realize the scale of that damage before they go to blocks. Like, oh, 2 things died. Oh, they're gonna do 4 damage. That's more damage. Like, you get punished for blocking, but you also get punished for not blocking because they still get to do damage and stuff.
And I mean, a lot of that is like once Dan played the Lingering Souls, all of a sudden you have 5 blockers, 5 attackers.
Yeah.
If they die, they deal 4. If you don't block it, they're still chipping in. But yeah, Shadow of Doubt, definitely the MVP there. Matt just didn't really get to play real Magic there.
That was stuck on 2 lands. Oh, Cutthroat is still in Standard. Good point, Gibbous. Yeah. I guess the deck that really abused the crap out of it is no longer around. Though.
Yeah, yes, Cutthroat is still in Standard, but without Collected Company,
somewhat less good.
Somewhat less exciting.
Right.
At least for a lot less degenerate draws.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with a good old fashioned Rally the Ancestors deck. I've played against that in Modern. It's not as good as it was in Standard.
I mean, this is what this deck is. This is a Rally deck.
I mean, I don't know if it has literal actual Rally though.
No, that's why you play Zolports. This is why you play like Blood Arts.
Okay.
It's for the actual Rally.
Yeah. All right. So trigger swing with Mausoleum Wanderer here. 18 here. So a little bit of an awkward draw on the mana for Matt. He's got a Botanical Sanctum and a Gavany Township.
Right, but potentially a very, very damage-heavy draw.
Right. If he probably has a lot of insane cards. If he's just
I see
doing
2 Rattle Chains in hand,
right.
Which
Swing.
means that this is going to be a 4
damage. Yep.
And then with another Rattle Chains in hand, that's going to be
6 next turn.
Right.
Yeah.
This is quite
damage. Fast, and Dan also has to fetch to 13 here.
Right, we'll see Dan at the front of his hand here is Rally the Ancestors.
Oh, wow.
So he has the Viscera Seers for it. Let's see if we can find, Blood Arts.
Yeah, he needs those Zulaport effects for sure.
Right. Lingering Souls here would not be terrible either.
Lingering Souls, very good card, obviously against flying attackers that have low toughness, like spirits.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, the Lingering Souls tokens do just get, like, eaten up if they go, if Matt flashes into Rattle Chains mid-combat, but, yeah, we'll see here what Dan's got. It looks like...
I think I saw Doom Traveler in hand.
Okay. There's a swing for 2.
I mean, may as well,
yeah,
right?
right.
Like,
You're not blocking with those. 18. And he did make Lingering. He did cast Lingering Souls here. So I guess what'll happen is he'll block with the tokens. Matt'll flash stuff in, and then he'll sack both of those to Viscera Seer to scry.
Presumably yes.
Okay.
So it will be interesting to see how Dan blocks.
Yeah.
If Matt sends just the Mausoleum Wanderers, I would be tempted to double block one.
Sure.
That way you can't get completely blown out.
Absolutely. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. If you double block, at worst you trade. You know.
Mausoleum Wanderer proving very strong with the ability, to be okay. So he's moving both of them over, and I can't tell what that means.
Right. We'll see what happens afterwards. Whether this means that it's a double block or if it means it's a 1 on each.
Okay. So Rattle Chains for Matt. Trigger.
Yep. Looks like it was indeed a double block. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Dan playing tightly, knowing that Rattle Chains can
exists.
And I mean Rattle Chains.
And he can also flash it back now.
Absolutely. Yep. This is completely fine.
Ding ding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, Matt I think Matt might have another Rattle Chains though, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But Dan serving again with the Viscera Seers, right? Like those things will eventually kill you.
Dan's just like praying for these Viscera Seers to get traded because he can just rally them back.
Yeah, absolutely. So Phantasmal Image, Selfless Spirit in hand for Matt. He can't play the Selfless Spirit.
He can't. No, does not have access to white. He can play the Phantasmal Image, and he has a lot of options he can choose here. He can even choose to target Viscera Seer if he wants. If he wants to desperately scry his way out.
He's gonna copy the Wanderer and swing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 2/2 coming across. And you gotta wonder, is he gonna trade both Souls tokens for the 2/2? I kind of like trading here.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is.
Oh, maybe he's just gonna single block. Okay, he's just decided to single block. Oh, he's gonna sack scry. Okay.
Yep. The
multicolored card on top. That might be a Zealous.
Right.
Oh, if that's a Zealous Persecution, that's so big.
If that's a Zealous Persecution, this game is over.
Oh, please. Oh, no. He knocked his deck over. Card is on the floor. Judge.
Oh, that would be incredibly unfortunate if he had to
Shuffle.
Oh,
no. No, not the Dexterity Air at the... Okay. Card. Top.
Oh, we're not sure what is going to happen from
result?
here.
Yeah.
Because Dan scryed to the top, but no one else knows what the scry was, we may be just forced to shuffle here.
Oh, that would be so brutal. He was too excited about that Zealous Barkeem. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is...
The Zealous is just backbreaking here, right?
I mean, you kill their whole board.
And you attack for 6.
Yes, but you also get a 4-for-1.
Yeah, I mean, seems fine. Seems fine.
Oh, I think that deck might have been shuffled. I can't tell, but
There are also 2 cards to the side of his
I think that's
deck.
his graveyard.
Oh, okay. It's a little difficult to tell with the glare here.
But yeah, those sleeves absolutely blocks of white text, or blocks of pure white right now. Okay, draw step.
So we might be backing up to like rescry.
Oh, okay.
Depending on where they would
Yeah.
decide to be in the game state. Man,
That was so brutal.
losing the Zealous Persecution would be pretty brutal here.
I don't know if Dan has a way to. Oh, okay. He's gonna talk to the judge.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we'll see what happens. Yikes.
We're also in a unique position of like, if this was a high stakes feature match, we could
Video review it.
video review it.
I think he still has a zealous. That's not a zealous, is it?
Oh no,
that's a zealous.
That's a cartel aristocrat.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know if it was ever a zealous actually.
It may have been a cartel aristocrat the whole time. It does look very similar to the color scheme.
Yeah.
Boki Nation. Dan had a scry from a Viscera Seer and scry to the top, but then knocked some cards onto the ground while drawing.
Yep. So this is an attack for 6.
This is attack for 6. If Matt has another,
I think you have to. I think you try to block a rattle chains here.
yeah, absolutely. That guarantees that you get
Yeah.
2.
Swing. Here comes the beats.
I mean, Dan is at a low enough life total that like he has to block. He has to
Oh, he's
block.
gonna try to trade with a wanderer, I think. Okay. That's not unreasonable. If he doesn't think that there's another rattle chains, obviously, which gets you blown out. Trades with the real one. Good.
I'm not a fan of that
Takes
play
5.
because you could potentially get blown out.
Right.
Also, you just lose 1.
So
lose
it looks
damage.
like he's decided to sack a Viscera Seer to scry, and then sack another Viscera Seer to scry. Uh-oh.
I
Yeah,
don't
he
know
might-
if
Oh, no, wait, he's got Rally, dude.
yeah, but I
don't know if Rally's even good right now.
Yeah,
Maybe, I think he just drew Lingering Souls, though, which is quite good.
He also sacked the.
Oh, he's got Lingering
Yeah, he's got
Souls.
Lingering Souls. Okay, the board has been stabilized here, especially since he can flashback on the same.
Unless
turn.
there's an Urborg, he can't be tapping Bloodstained Mire for that.
We're going to go and remind them real quick of this.
All right, yeah.
What's in this?
We're sending a runner.
Yep.
I'm surprised he didn't attack with Cartel Aristocrat.
Yeah. It's Cartel's not going to be doing any blocking.
Absolutely
and,
not.
You know that chip damage
Oh.
might matter if you
Yeah.
draw into a Blood Artist. All of a sudden, if you draw into a Blood Artist, like the minor points of damage really add up in this deck.
Absolutely.
There's been a lot of times you play Rally and then you leave your opponent at like 2. And it was
Yeah.
like, could I have squeezed in a couple of damage anywhere else?
Also, good call in the chat from Cubs fan. We did watch Matt lose round 1. I made a mistake by not updating the records after the first match was on screen. All right, so Matt here does find his 3rd land finally. Going to shock to 14. Going to turn it all sideways. And now this is the thing with Selfless Spirit, right? Like you can try to block, but then you can sack the Selfless.
So he's attacking
Yeah.
with 3 creatures that are all 2 power. So you're obliged to block here. And the question is, what is the most amount that you can block without him sacking the Selfless Spirit?
Right. It's a game of chicken, essentially, right?
Right.
Okay, so this is a pretty reasonable block, I think.
Okay. So if you block 2, all right.
Yeah, and
I'll
then you
sack
take
it,
2.
You take 2.
He really would have loved to have, like a Zulaport or something out for that effect. But we'll see what's going on here. Another draw step. So you gotta wonder. Man, he's got a bolt and 2 lands, or no, a bolt and a rally. Okay, what does his rally get that's good though? Just
Rally
Viscera Seers?
It's just literally just Viscera Seers right now.
so it's rally scry 2.
Effectively,
It's a 3-mana scry 2.
yeah, which
At
is
instant speed, which is probably not that good.
which is not where
He does have a bolt though, so you can. I like bolting the Maelstrom Wanderer copy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This guarantees that it goes away.
Goodbye.
Uh-huh.
Get off my table.
No.
Okay, I swing with Cartel Aristocrat, almost assuredly.
Yep. He cannot be punished for this. And Dan wisely deciding to play around Spellcrawler, which would have been
Matt draws a
actually
Coco.
Spellcrawler would not have done anything.
Oh, another Selfless Spirit. Brutal
So this you're obliged
to block.
Yeah, so it's like, do you want to do you want to block both, or do you want to block one? If you block one, your position doesn't really improve.
And you're dead, and you're at 2 life. No, you have to try to block both here.
Right.
And just hope you just rip something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he is going to rally, though. Okay.
So, yeah, he's going to rally. If he casts rally, he can get a bunch of scries.
Yeah.
But then all of this is going to go away on upkeep.
Yeah, I mean, that's not out of the question, I think. So, yeah, sack, scry.
So then the problem is, like, you're really just drawing to Zealous Persecution.
Zealous, yeah. Well, I mean, I think you have to at this point. Like, you're down by enough that it's not good anymore to draw to anything else. Sack, scry, Shadow of Doubt, probably not good enough.
Shadow of Doubt, not good enough here.
Do not keep that card on the top. That card's not good enough.
Yeah.
All right, he figured it out.
At best, it's Psychos. You're really looking to draw into another Lingering Cells, or Zealous Persecution.
Yeah, you basically have to do that. There's not a...
And honestly, like, it almost has to be Lingering Cells, because Zealous Persecution buys you time, but your opponent has, like, 3-4
I think
hits.
Matt has another Selfless Spirit, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to draw, and I'm not sure that was what he wanted. I can't tell what it is, but it doesn't look super happy. Swing, go to 10. Left player. All right, pass it back. He's at 4 life here.
He's going to play Anguished Unmaking.
And he's gonna extend the hand.
That's
All right, so Bant Spirit's gonna take it down 2-1 over Mardu Aristocrats. Matt Barbuccio getting the win against Dan Cherkassky. 2 decks, both with a sort of a little bit of an offbeat theme. And looks like Bant Spirits just proved to be a little bit stronger there. Dan a little bit flooded and also lacking some of his very important Blood Artist effects.
Yeah, Rally the Ancestor really needs to be a card that gets played with value, and none of Dan didn't draw any of the payoff cards.
Absolutely,
despite scrying multiple times.
Yeah, and that's brutal, right? Because like if there were Zulaport in the yard for that rally, right? Like you would drain gain for 4, which is insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or there's 2 Zulaports and you just like win the game or something. You know?
Imagine how differently that game would have been if he had a turn 2 Zulaport.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like,
so many creatures died.
Yeah.
Or a Blood Artist even, because it triggers on theirs.
Yeah, a Blood Artist would have been even better. But yeah, we saw Dan lose both halves of 2 Lingering Cells.
Yeah.
So that's 8 creatures. And I mean, like,
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's 8 life if you had a Blood Artist out. Unfortunately, sometimes them's the beats. Matt also with a very
tight land constricted draw.
Right. Missed on a 3rd land for multiple turns.
For sure.
And eventually did find a 3rd, but happened to keep a handful of 1 and 2 drops, which, allowed him to actually play Magic. Sure.
Okay, so we're going to throw it back up to the booth because I don't think there's anything else going on down there, right?
No, I mean, we got 5 minutes left in the round.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no one starting game 3 right now.
In the meantime, before we get to game 3 here, we could take a look at
results.
The results from SCG Milwaukee here.
Speaking of Bant Spirits, which we've now seen twice tonight on camera, Bant Spirits, piloted by Caleb Durwold, was enough to take down the entire tournament.
Yeah, Caleb Durwold, missing from the SCG scene for quite some time.
Victorious.
Returns and just takes it down. Caleb's list looks pretty similar to what Matt was doing here.
Except that he has Steel of the Godhead, ladies and gentlemen. And for those of you who don't know this card, you attach it to your Geist of Saint Traft, and then you win the game. Yeah. So that's Cartel Aristocrat, but this is Steel of the... Yeah, okay. Steel of the Godhead. 3-mana enchantment. It gets +1/+1 and has lifelink, and if it's blue, it gets +1/+1 and is unblockable. Yeah. Geist is both of those, so your Geist is a 4/4 that is unblockable and has lifelink.
I mean, it's rare to see enchantments outside of Boggles or outside of just Raincore, but you have so many creatures that incidentally can give each other hexproof.
Yeah.
That
put this on a Drog Skull Captain, I don't know, man.
Yeah, well, put this on something else, right?
Yeah.
Because the Drog Skull Captain can
right.
protect it. But the lifelink really lets you,
race.
The
Absolutely.
because almost all of your creatures are flyers, there's not a whole lot of blocking. This plays a lot like Merfolk in that the creatures almost read unblockable. Sure.
Okay. Brandon and Paul. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so looks like we got round 3 paired up here. We're gonna have Paul Green and Brandon Salgado.
Yeah. So we've seen Paul Green once tonight. He picked up a win in his second round, so he's up to 2-0 with his Jest Guy Thing in the Ice Reveler Kiln Fiend deck that just went off against Burn as we saw. So excitingly, we'll get to see that again.
And I mean, like, when your deck is based around Thing in the Ice, if you draw it 5 times in 2 games, it's
probably
pretty good.
Win. Yeah,
it's pretty
Thing
good.
in the Ice. Thing in the Ice. Turns out, like Shoto won the Pro Tour with Thing in the Ice in his deck, right? Like, clearly it can't be that bad. I mean, obviously that's fallacious, but like, the card I think has some amount of legs, especially in Modern, where you can just like turbo it out. Like, the number of times you flip Thing in the Ice on turn 3 in the the dedicated Thing in the Ice Pyromancer Ascension deck,
surprisingly high.
it's quite high because you just you play Thing in the Ice, and then next turn you have Manamorphose into 3 spells, but those spells can all be spells that like draw you into more spells.
Right.
So
and importantly, the difference from this Modern and Standard is you have access to Phyrexian mana in Modern.
Yep.
So
Gitaxian Probe.
Gitaxian Probe's free. You even have a couple mutagenics.
Yeah. In this one, you'll have mutas for sure.
Right. Just powers out a lot of explosive draws. And while Kiln Fiend is vulnerable to Bolt, heck, it's even vulnerable to Shock. Thing that is a lot harder to kill.
Absolutely.
4 toughness is kind of the critical inflection point in Modern, right? It gets you out of Bolt range, and no one really plays cards like Flame Slash anymore.
I mean, yeah, dude, Flame Slash is a thing of the past. Replaced by Roast and then completely eliminated from the meta.
Yeah, Roast saw a lot of play when people were trying to jam Gurmag Anglers.
Yep.
And
great counter to Gurmag Angler.
Yeah.
Would agree.
I mean, I remember back in the day when Rending Volley was a popular sideboard card.
I mean, this kills the Deceiver Exarch.
It kills the Deceiver Exarch, it kills the Colonnade, it kills the Restoration Angel.
It kills, and it would kill the Thing in the Ice, but, fortunately for Thing in the Ice, it doesn't have to get rendered very often.
Right.
If ever.
Alright,
so Paul going to start out here on a turn 1. Turn 1 Serum Visions off an island. And pass back. He's got a Thing in the Ice and 2 Phyrexian spells in hand, so this thing is going to flip really fast.
Right. So Brandon is on Infect here.
Is he? Oh.
Yeah, we saw him just draw a Blighted Agent here.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I feel great with Thing in the Ice against Infect decks. You get to flip and bounce their board mid-combat a lot. And that's very challenging. They're like, play my pump spells because you didn't block, and then you're like, cool dog, flip this.
Right. The flip Thing in the Ice mid combat. There's no way to interact with that in Standard right now. Well, even in Modern, like,
I mean, you could squelch it or whatever.
You could squelch it, I guess, but like, let's be real here.
Agreed.
Yeah, none of these things are happening.
That's absolutely true.
You could trick bind it.
Yep. Here comes the Thing in the Ice, though, and Brandon has to be, somewhat worried. So, all right, Inkmoth Nexus. I think we probably see a Blighted Agent here.
Yeah.
Notably, this will tap him out of blue, and I think he has a Spell Pierce in his hand. Spell Pierce, obviously, very, very good, and against stuff.
Right. The problem though is Spell Pierce. I mean, it doesn't get rid of the Thing in the Ice trigger.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if this.
There's a Blighted Agent.
Yep.
Okay, so Blighted Agent, obviously, very powerful card. And Paul here gonna pay life for Gitaxian Probe, can freely do so. Sees. Oh, there it is.
So we see Become Immense, double Blossoming Defense, a Glistener Elf, and a Vines of the Vastwood. So Brandon choosing to leave up protection instead of playing the Glistener Elf.
I think that's smart.
Yeah.
So he can do how much damage? He can play both defenses if he really wanted to, right? So that's like 5. Okay, that's not that much.
If Brandon draws a fetch land here, he gets very close. No, he is able to cast Become Immense.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, because he'll have another green
He'll have
source and
four
a
cards.
Lotus Petal.
Yeah,
You're
he'll
right.
have 4 cards in the graveyard.
Yep. Paul, though, does not care. Just gonna, keep on flipping it. Paul with a mutagenic, literally. Oh my God.
All right, so.
Oh no, Paul is so close to winning the game right now. So close to winning the game right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man.
So Brandon does have the play of Vines of Vastwood, the opponent's creature.
Oh, but he didn't do it.
Cancel. It hasn't resolved yet.
TBR swing. Oh no, it definitely did resolve.
Okay. So Brandon had the option of playing Vines to counter the Teamer Battle Rage.
Right.
And admittedly, without removal on hand, I'm not sure how he wins that game. But
so this is an attack, by the way, for 16. No, 18. Brandon's at 1 life right now. If Brandon doesn't fetch properly, and also Paul definitely Gitaxian probed twice.
And then mutagenic.
Yeah, so he's at 14.
14 at best.
Sure, but
Not relevant, right?
Yeah, guys, what the heck? This is insane.
Yeah, I mean,
how do you win if you're infect now?
From this point,
because he has another TBR, so he can just pump his dude.
The problem is
kill you with the trample.
Right. The problem is Brandon is at 1. If he was at 2, he could at least play 2 creatures and then kill you the next turn after that.
It's not gonna matter though. Whoop. Oh wait.
And by that I mean fetch lands would be live.
Right. So Paul gonna go Faithless Looting, discard 2 or draw 2, discard 2. So he's gonna pitch a Thing in a Flooded Strand. Gonna play a good old fashioned Spire Bluff Canal, and bam, that is a lethal attack.
Yep.
And bam, it's going to get blocked. But that's a Kiln Fiend now, and now Brandon is in the unenviable position of still needing 2 blockers, but not
being able to deploy this.
He can't play the Blighted Agent.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a blue source.
And even
he's gonna scoop it up. What is this deck? Paul Green is just going off tonight. Oh my god.
Also importantly, even if Brandon was able to play 2 creatures, you're not advancing your game plan, right?
No, you're still chump blocking.
Right. I think the critical point there was Brandon choosing to not Vines.
Not Vines it, yeah.
Vines has the sometimes used mode of counter your opponent's pump spell.
And in that case, it would have been very good, but Brandon did not take that line and thus was bopped by a Thing in the Ice.
Right. I mean, even if he had taken that line, he still would have taken 9, right? Because it was it was a mutagenic and thing. So, I mean, still not in good shape.
Still has his whole board in his hand.
And still kind of unlikely to win. But again, dealing 10, especially with it becoming immense in hand, is not the hardest thing in the world.
It's not out of the question.
If he had taken that line and maybe, drawn another land, he could have gone Blighted Agent and Noble Hierarch.
He needs to draw...
If he had drawn an island, for example.
I don't think he doesn't play island, though.
Actually, if he had Vines, his life
total would have
been
been
high
enough to fetch shock. Yeah,
he could have fetch shocked for a breeding pool. Then could have played both Glistener Elf and Blighted Agent, chumped with the Glistener Elf,
and then swung,
and then killed the next turn with
Blighted Agent and Blossoming Defense and the Hierarch trigger.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Granted,
this is assuming Paul had nothing, which I think Paul had 6 cards in hand. So it's unlikely he had nothing.
Yeah.
But
that's your out if you're Brandon.
I think that was Brandon's out to winning the game.
Yeah, so Thing in the Ice here just showing maybe this card has legs.
I mean,
okay, I'm going to say this. In a meta game that looks increasingly hostile to fair decks, and decks that for example, Jund is on the decline. Jeskai Nahiri has been on the decline for a long time. Bant Eldrazi interacts a little bit. Bant Eldrazi is probably not a great matchup for this list because of Thought Knot and Smasher, but with those decks declining in favor of stuff like Dredge and things, if you flip a Thing in the Ice against the Dredge board, what do they do?
Oh, Dredge just loses.
Yeah, I have prized amalgams in my hand.
Even worse, what are you going to do with 3 Narc Amiibos in hand?
Oh yeah, that's trash.
It's actually
These cards are you can't brainstorm those into your library and then dredge them.
You cannot. Yeah, so like
Ooh, good combo.
Paul taking advantage of just the fact that like in fact, your only removal spell is like Dismember. Some
Right.
decks splash white for path.
Very infrequently these days.
Right, but it's just you have very little interaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Conversely, like imagine if Brandon was on something like Jund, and then you go ham on a thing nice, and they just
Abrupt Decay? Yeah.
Abrupt Decay, Terminate.
Having had my Thing in the Ice as Abrupt Decayed multiple times by Jund decks, I can confirm that Thing in the Ice decks and their ilk are a total dog against Jund most of the time.
Right.
Because they're just like, oh, I will bolt your Kiln Fiend. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, kill
wait.
Fiend.
Does Brandon Salgado have Thing in the Ice in his hand? No, it's a good taxi.
This is a good taxi probe.
I wanted to believe.
Okay, so Paul looking at a fairly reasonable hand here. He's got turn 1 Spire Bluffs into Serum Visions to find a second land. He can play either Kiln Fiend or
Thing in the
Ice. I would be much more excited about playing the Kiln Fiend because he has Mutagenic and Teamer Battle Rage.
Right, which is the threaten you turn 2 kill sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, especially with Brandon shocking like this, or fetching like this, like 17. That's easy.
Yeah, well, I mean, almost certainly going to 15 to get a breeding pool. Oh no,
He's gonna get a forest. If he gets a hierarchy here, it's fine.
Sure. But yeah, Paul has the turn 3 kill in his hand if he can find a second land.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see, but that's it. So I think he's debating Elf for Hierarch. Hierarch gonna be the play here.
Oh.
Draw. Oh, and he draws the land like what a player.
Yeah. So
Now
Paul,
the real thing. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
Yeah, Paul's got an interesting decision of which land to play. Spire Bluff is the natural. Hey,
Right.
it comes into play on tap.
But
the
Serum Visions.
Right. With the Serum Visions, the Flooded Strand is
Much better.
Yeah. Also, his life total is just not a threat, so he can shock with impunity. He can
absolutely.
get tax and probe.
Muta, etc.
Yeah.
Serum Visions here. Gonna look top card. Gonna draw the top card. Gonna look at the top 2. And should be okay.
I mean, Brandon has the option of playing Pact the Negation.
Dan, that's not what you want. Paul here, very fast resolving that Serum Visions. Knows what he wants.
Okay, so Brandon hilariously has a Twisted Image.
He also has a Dispel.
And
Oh, wow. Twisted Image
and
actually
Twisted
so
Image-
good. Holy shit.
good.
How can you lose?
I mean, to be fair, even if you play Twisted Image, you're still taking 8 from this turn 3 attack, right? Because it still has double strike, and it's still going to have mutagenic.
Yeah.
But 8 is a lot
Much
less
better
than 18.
Yeah, true. So Elf here, so Paul gonna play the Spire Bluffs. Gotta wonder what his choice of card is gonna be, because if he plays Thing, like the thing is with Infect is like Paul just has to go a little bit slower, right, and just like flip the Thing and bounce the board before Brandon just kills him. And Brandon is on 1 land, so if you play the Thing here, there's a good chance that it flips because you get to like Manamorphose next turn for free. Oh wait, I lied. Oh my god. Oh, the Twisted Image goes down in a blaze of mutagenic growth glory.
So Brandon did know about the mutagenic, but may have played this just to get that card out of his hand.
Another forest here, so this is good for Brandon. The question is like, can he kill him? Because otherwise Paul will flip the Thing and probably kill him back.
I mean, he can get in quite a bit of damage here. If Brandon attacks this naturally for 2, it's unlikely that Paul's
not going to block.
Paul blocks, right? So can you add 8 power?
I mean, with Become Immense, you could.
With Become Immense, this is trivial, right? But it doesn't look like Brandon...
In for 2. He has a Dispel in hand, which is actually
it doesn't
really
look like
good.
Brandon's looking to add power to this. Now, this is a little scary.
He has a Spell Pierce, too. This is actually a great hand for Brandon.
Right. Depending on what hand Brandon has, he may have been incentivized to just try to get in as much damage. Paul is almost certainly going to be able to flip this Thing in the Ice on your next attack.
Yeah.
Which means you get fogged.
Right.
And then you have to redeploy, and possibly you might be dead by then.
Yeah, so Paul gonna fetch here. The thing is, though, is Brandon does have... He can counter one of Paul's spells.
But that doesn't necessarily matter that much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless Brandon can kill the thing.
Right. You're right.
Right.
Well, what I'm saying is like he can counter one of Paul's spells, prevent it from flipping right now, and then kill him on the crackback.
Right. So faithless looting.
Oh no. Paul. Actually, I don't know. Oh, Paul has a dispel of his own. Okay, so Paul does get to flip the thing now, because he has a probe, so he can probe, not worry about paying life for stuff, or not worry about paying mana.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna go to 12 here to do this, but this
Right.
is completely fine because Brandon here, like, it doesn't matter now. Brandon can spell pierce or dismember, but Paul is still gonna get a cast trigger from the next spell that he plays.
Right. So if Brandon had just gone in on the
try to kill
Glistener
you
Elf, could have added
4.
right. Could have added 4, put Paul to 6 infect.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, though, Paul's just gonna flip this and do quite a bit of work. So he's gonna cast Manamorphose. Now, if you're gonna cast Dispel or Spell Pierce, this is
do
where
it
you have
now.
to fight.
Because otherwise your hierarch gets bounced.
Yeah, this also prevents the card draw.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. Just trade 1 for 1. The thing here, though, is like your board goes away.
Yep.
Your hierarch will be summoning sick. Next turn.
He's gonna get in for
7.
which, I mean, you're
Crunch.
at 15.
Crunch.
And you know your opponent has a Team or Battle Rage in hand.
You know the TBR exists. How do you... Did you just lose?
So you can fetch, play Glistener Elf and Noble Hierarch and
Wait,
keep
no.
up
Paul
Dispel.
has a dispel.
Paul has a Dispel.
Paul
yes.
has a dispel, so this game is over.
Brandon knows that he's probably dead here.
I don't think Brandon saw the dispel.
The
The dispel's a relatively late draw.
No, yeah. You're right. Brandon might not be aware of the Dispel.
What spell, Dan? Dispel.
Yeah.
Dispel coming for you.
Yep. So
And here's the swing.
with Brandon only threatening leaving 1 mana up, there's just nothing.
There's nothing he can do, and he knows that one of the spells is gone. And so yeah, what spell? Dispel.
Right.
Coming in.
Is
We have not seen Reveler Arbear. I'd be willing to bet that Paul does not have it in post-sport against Infect, which is disappointing, but
I'm struggling to think of a line that Brandon could have, right?
he doesn't, though, right?
Yeah, like
Wait, no, he has a Vines. Wait, but he only has 1 mana up.
right. That's the problem. With only 1 mana, there's just no way to cast something and dispel.
Oh, he's just so dead.
Yep.
Assuming Paul goes for it. Paul has to go for it. Otherwise, Paul's dead.
Paul knows Brandon's hand.
Yeah.
There's just no reason for Paul not to go for it.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, gonna block. TBR gets cast. Team or Battle Rage, guys. What an all-star.
Can't. So Brandon was gonna have to fetch for this.
Yeah, the hierarch is not the hierarch is indeed summoning sick.
Right. Paul making him go through the motions, not refusing to just show him the dispel in hand.
You know it. So he's gonna have to fetch shock.
And now shows him
now
the
he shows him, and that's gonna be the shake. Blue-red Thing Reveler Fiend, guys, going off tonight on this stream.
Yeah, it's been a very
It
impressive
seems
showing.
Thing in the Ice seems really good against decks that just play to the board and don't have removal.
Right, absolutely. Paul's actually also,
A very good player.
and also has played a lot of turn 2 Thing in the Ices.
That's also true.
Yeah, which certainly helps.
I mean, when you have Thing in the Ice on turn 2, obviously his deck's very good. Paul does have Simian Spirit Guide, so it can be on turn 1. So we do the boards here. Vapor Snag, very good against Infect. Eliminates their pump, forces them to do silly things, etc. And Dispel, what spell? Dispel. Obviously very good at the end of the game there. I apologize for all the Dispel puns. I promise I'll stop at some point. Yep, so Dan has hopped out. Dan is looking for another match. Just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us. 134 viewers is the most that we've had concurrently on this stream, I think, ever. At least since we've restarted it in the past month or so. So thank you for sticking with us. If you like the commentary, if you like what you've seen, throw us a follow and make sure to check out MTGCardmarket.com for your Magic-related needs. And if you're in the Chicago area, you should come play at MTG Card Market because the store has great events and just is a great place to sort of get into the Chicago area Magic community. So hopefully Dan can get out there and find another match for us. If he doesn't, we're gonna hop back to us and probably talk about Standard, which has been, obviously 2 huge GPs. But Dan gives me the thumbs up as he comes back in the door. So, who do we have, Dan? Lay it on me.
We've got Jim Bailey on Burn, and he's going to be playing against a very, very shiny Jund deck.
Okay. All right. Jund versus Burn, classic matchup.
Yeah, and for those who are looking to foil out a Jund deck, please take note that this is the way you properly do it.
Ooh, Dan.
Ew.
Do you know someone to foil Jund who's improperly done it?
The gauntlet has been thrown.
Okay, I see. So that's going to be Jim Bailey on the left here.
Well, it's just like personal, like, I can understand the appeal of foiling a deck, but if you're going to do it and you have Modern Master 2 foil Goyfs, it doesn't count.
What are you interested in? Future Sight?
You have to future sight it.
Do you have to future sight? Ooh, Dan.
I mean, else what is the point? What is the point?
That is a good point. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some foil Jund players out there who might disagree with you. So you know, we will of course we'll see how this shiny deck does. So responding to some stuff in the chat. Sage Shadows. Unfortunately, right now there's no plan at the moment to restart Legacy. Right now we're just keeping it modern. But we, you know, there's the possibility, and I do say possibility because there's nothing confirmed, that Legacy at some point might come back. At this point, though, there's no concrete plans for it to do so.
Right. We're excited about how much this modern stream has grown. We really appreciate you guys spending your evening here with us tonight, looking at some exciting Magic.
Dude, this Magic's been great so far.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We've seen Shadow of Doubt.
Dude, Shadow of Doubt, Thing in the Ice. Like, how can you lose? And what's the record here? Do you know? This is game 3.
This is game 3, I believe.
Okay, we're gonna say it's game 3. Hanami Nelson versus Jim Bailey, and that's gonna be in Arid Mesa, getting cracked.
Yeah.
For a basic mountain. Ooh,
right.
Wow, that's a cool looking mountain.
For people who have followed the stream for some time, you know that Jim plays a whole variety of different decks.
They're usually aggro and they usually have red though.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen him play Vengevine. I've seen him play
true, okay.
8-Rack.
Oh, I have seen him play Eric. He also plays Goblins. His Goblins deck is spooky. Goblin Grenade, good card, by the way.
I've also seen him play Ponza, and
my god, yes, he has played Ponza. Please don't remind me of those days.
There was a hilarious. He played against one of our friends who was on Storm, and proceeded to turn 2 Trinisphere him, which was quite good.
Yeah.
All right, so Hanami going to find a Blood Crypt on top.
Stomping Ground.
No, from the Goblin trigger.
Okay.
I
didn't see
and
that.
Choosing to bolt it immediately, so he doesn't have to discard.
Right.
Nevertheless, may have liked to wait on the bolt.
Gonna go to 13 here. This is a lot of, this is the problem, is like if your mana base is painful.
Which Jund's mana base is quite painful. You're trying to do a lot of things on curve that have a lot of different colors.
Yeah. To stuff in the chat, so the Legacy event still fires and fires every single week, but there is no stream for it currently. So definitely come out and play Legacy. It's just that like the stream is not currently on for that, and there are no plans for the stream to run for that.
Right. And the Legacy scene.
Did he fetch for that, by the way? Or?
I think just play for.
Okay.
The Legacy scene here is quite strong as well. There's a lot of players who are very, very skilled with the decks that they play. And
I'm always extremely impressed when I come watch Legacy stuff. Ooh, Jim on a black splash in his burn deck, it looks like.
Ooh, it looks like Jim might be playing the Bump in the Night version.
Yep. So, yeah, we haven't seen any white cards either. I guess there might be a Sacred Foundry in his hand, but we will definitely put this down as...
Well, one of the worst parts about playing against Burn, as any fair creature deck is, they almost always board in Deflecting Palm.
And that just makes your Tarmogoyf a sad Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it's just...
fog you for you.
Yeah.
Get there.
Not terrible.
Also really good against Emrakul.
Deflecting Palm also, can target a lot of different things. You can target, a Valakut.
Absolutely.
And it only gets 1 trigger, but
maybe you don't die to that.
Sometimes 2 mana bolt is just what you need.
Jim with no play here, gonna kick it back over to Hanami. This is good for Jun. He's stabilized a little bit. There's not like an Eidolon on board or anything, but like obviously Jim representing, I have all the burn in my hand, and you are going to taste all of it.
And despite it not showing up on camera, that is in fact a foil Future Sight Goyf.
Yes. Ooh, Inquisition here from Jim. Like it.
Okay. Jim and
Or sorry, Inquisition from Hanami. Shard Volley, Sacking Mountain, going face, and Bolt.
Oh, it looks like both are actually being pointed at the Goyf here.
Ooh, okay. Jim looking to get the Goyf off the table. I'm not sure how much I like that play.
I'm not thrilled by it, but it looks like
And there's
Jim's
two more
hand.
lands.
Right.
Oh, that's rough. Okay.
So if he had pointed both to face, he could put Hanami down to 7.
But that's also far.
That's like pretty far. You have, 4 probably 3, 4 draw spells to try to do 7.
Yeah. Is that a Twilight Mire?
That is a Twilight Mire.
Okay.
Playing a Bob.
Ooh, that Bob looks shiny on camera.
Yeah. This is I believe this is the Judge version of the
That
Bob.
is so nice. I love it a lot.
All right. So Bob giving Jim a lot of leeway depending on how lucky Hanami is.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen some pretty good Bob luck. Ooh, that's a new card there.
Yeah, this is an Inspiring Vantage, I believe. All right, so Hanami flips a Raging Ravine and draws Maelstrom Pulse. This is the correct. This is the correct order.
The correct order to draw those cards in.
Yep.
Inspiring Vantage, the new red-white fast land, and that is going to be a Liliana of the Veil.
All right. So Liliana is going to actually be quite excellent here because it's going to prevent Jim from holding.
Yeah, he's just going to have to
cards.
play the burn as it comes.
Right, and Hanami's got just more than enough cards in hand.
Absolutely.
Especially with his Bob. Unfortunately, also with Jim's choice to kill the Goyf, Hanami is quite high in life total as well.
13 is extremely high. I would be very surprised if Jim manages to pull this out somehow.
Right, especially since you know that Junda almost certainly is going to the board in things like Kitchen Finks.
Yeah, a Kitchen Finks here is just game over, I think.
Right.
I mean, as it is, this is still not great. Yeah, no play again from Jim. Untap, flip. Oh, flip the Blackcleave Cliffs like a champion.
And draw 4 drop? Draw 3 drop. This is the correct order to do these things.
Yeah, what did he draw in?
He got like Polygon's command. So if he goes
Lily, then K command you draw a step, get rid of your sorcery speed stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Also has the option to if he ups Lily here, he can draw step, make you discard, and return Goyf to hand.
Yeah, Goyf coming back is obviously huge. Lily gonna plus, and Jim. Okay, so Jim really has flooded hard this game because he's discarded multiple lands to Liliana. Here's a serve from Bob.
And let's not forget that one of the lands was destroyed by a Shard Volley as well.
Right. Yeah. So that's a lot, but we will see. Obviously, Raging Ravine gonna clock pretty hard.
So Hanami not choosing to draw step that Polygon's command.
Yeah.
I think I like the draw
step. Just get back your Goyf.
Yeah,
Getting back Goyf is a big deal.
Because you prevent damage from things like Lava Spike.
Yeah.
If he plays a Goblin Guide, yes, you're gonna.
Looks like he's going for it. Actually, I don't know if this is in the draw step or not.
I mean, with Jim passing,
Boros Charm you.
So
ding.
Would not have mattered in any case.
Yeah.
Hanami going to 9. Now he's within the range where he could die, depending on what
especially if he flips something to Bob, which he hasn't this whole game.
Yeah.
That's a 2.
That's 2. Okay.
All right. He goes to 7 here, so he is putting himself low.
So what Hanami can do is attack with Bob,
and then
put Jim to
himself.
Edict himself, and play 2 Goyfs. And next turn you have Raging Ravine and 2 Goyfs.
Yeah, that's probably good enough.
Okay. So looking at Hanami's hand, it looks like he did not choose to
return Goyf.
Return the Goyf.
Is it possible he shocked Jim?
Looks like he must have shocked instead.
Okay. So that's gonna put Jim to 9 here. Okay.
Yep.
So next turn, Jim is just dead to the.
Jim will be dead to the board.
Yep.
Yeah. What was Jim at previously?
He was at 14, and then he got shocked, hit by Bob, and just fetched.
Scarlet, did he miss the draws for turn?
Jim or Hanami?
Hanami.
Yeah. After Bob flipped Goyf, Hanami did not draw.
I believe his draw was the second pulse, wasn't it? I know he drew a pulse earlier.
Huh. Interesting. I am
not positive.
Yeah. So
this is kind of one of those things that
yeah, we just missed.
Yeah.
All right, draw step, burn spell, flip your Kalidas to it. Yeah, that's what you want.
Burn spell.
Self-inflicted wound.
Wow.
Whoa.
Well, that's a way of dealing with the Goyf. All right, so
boom, baby. Sacrifice a green or white creature.
This used to be an excellent way to kill siege rhinos. Hanami's also importantly going to go to 5.
He's zeros, though. Oh, he does go to 5 here. Wow. So this is way closer than we thought it was.
Yeah.
So Jim, basically, Hanami is going to attack. Jim's going to activate Raging Ravine and attack. Jim is going to have a turn to draw a burn spell, burn him, and hope Hanami flips a more than 2-drop.
Right. So I like alting the Liliana here.
Yeah.
And you can cut him off of a color. I think you can cut him. Yeah, you can cut him off either white or black.
Right. And so then Jim's going to have to figure out what's in his list.
Right.
I like keeping the white because you have Boros Charm.
Right. But Jim does know his list a lot better. If he
he keeps the black. I guess if he draws bump or something.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
well,
I just like animating the ravine and making him have it.
All right. So this is an attack for 6.
Yep.
Gonna go to 3 here.
So Jim, with live draws, just any burn.
As long as it's not a land. Oh, yeah. And that's going to be another land.
Yep.
Going to extend the hand. Hanami Nelson on Jund. Going to take it over Jim Bailey on Mardu Burn.
We'll see if we can grab a quick.
Yeah, see if we can
match.
grab a quick third match for this one. Yeah. Unfortunate there for Jim because honestly, like, depending on what's on top of Hanami's deck, if that was burn, Hanami was just dead. Dark Confidant, obviously greatness at any cost. Really going for any cost there. Malmaz, that was a post board game. That was not main deck. The self-inflicted wound assuredly is not main deck. Jim is a very reasonable burn player, yeah. So so 2 players will figure it out. Sort of chatting after the match here. Dan, of course, looking for another one. If there isn't one, though, we will get to talk about some results. We can talk about Modern a little bit more. We'll definitely be talking about Standard. Obviously 2 huge GPs this weekend. Blue-White Flash sort of stomping its way into day 2 at both of them. So we'll talk about ways that you can possibly counter that going forward. So these 2 players going to shake, and Dan... Fingers crossed we get more Magic, though. This has been a really good stream so far tonight, and we're super happy to have you with us. Hold 4. He should have attacked. He should have sacrificed his own Confidant with the Lily and attacked with Ravine. I don't necessarily disagree with that line of play. I actually kind of like it. I am a chicken when it comes to Bob, though, so you never know. Like that could be like the wrong thing to do, but I personally like sacrificing your own Bob instead of cutting him off a color. I think you're just much less likely to die because your Ravine is a 2-turn clock and stuff. Oh, sick. We got a third match. Someone in a lion shirt versus someone... So, who do we got, Dan?
We have Vincent.
Yeah.
Vincent on the right here, playing against Michael on the left. Vincent is on... Jeskai, yeah. The tried and true, right? Michael, on the other hand, is on Kiki Chord. So this would be 2 decks we haven't seen on Steam today.
The grindiest.
No, well, Michael did win game 1. He is mulling to 5 here.
Is this game 2?
This is game 2.
All right, guys. It's 35 minutes into the round, and it's game 2. Grindy decks, what can I say? So that looks like a turn 1 Relic of Progenitus from Vince. So probably saw stuff like Ewit and Revelark. Oh, Vince is also on Geist this weekend, actually.
Right.
This week.
Vincent has turn 2 Mana Leak, turn 3 Geist.
Yikes.
So,
big yikes.
Pretty good draw.
Whew, turn 2 Mana Leak is so good.
So the Corselli Primate, though, is like kind of anemic, but it is a blocker for Geist. So.
Right. I mean, I think if you have the Mana Leak, you absolutely just toss it out here.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to in my mind. Vince here gonna fetch. Gonna get that, that White Star so he can play his Geist of Saint Traft.
Now, Geist not the greatest in this matchup, just because there are just so many
blockers
on the ground.
Yeah. But yep, leak. Target your Pride Mage. Right. Get it out of here.
But against a mulligan to a 5, like
mulling to 5, yeah, so
it's
punishing.
Pretty brutal.
There's also a Path in hand, for Vince, which clears the way for another. All right, so it looks like he's gonna shock to 15.
Had the option of playing the Flutter Strand, but then
Yeah.
realized that he would probably shock off that anyways to get a red.
Yeah.
So might as well play a Sacred Foundry.
Absolutely. So that's a Geist of St. Traft, and now it's on Michael to answer. He has a Courser of Crewfix in hand, but I don't know if he has another land.
So one minor thing is Vincent did forget to exile the Quasali Prime Mage last turn.
Sure.
Which
Wall of Omens, draw a card for Michael.
unlikely to matter, but you never know.
It could. I mean, he could exile it right now.
So
Yeah, did it.
yeah. So Vincent not going to be able to hit for 2 on the ground,
But he's going to get the 4 in the air.
but we'll still get the 4 in the air.
He also has Snap Mana Leak on the next thing that that Michael plays, which is exactly what you want to be doing here as the Geist
This
deck.
is absolutely what you want to be doing. You play a Geist, then you just protect it.
Michael going to go to 16 off that Angel hit.
Has 3 lands.
He has a Courser, but the Courser gets Snap Leaked.
Yeah.
And I really like Snap Leak here. Oh, baby. You cannot just not Snap Leak. Oh, he lets it resolve? Okay, he's going to go to... Maybe he's going to Path here and save the Snap Path or something. But yeah, Michael goes to 17.
Vincent might also have the line of there are a lot of cards that that the Kiki core deck can play that are really punishing. If you, for example, P and K in the lore,
Yeah.
would be extremely punishing. So you
Yeah.
might want to be trying to save the Snap Leak for something like that.
Yeah, something bigger.
Right.
And I think... So, Michael seems to have elected not to search. Maybe he will?
Looks like no. He
Looks like he
elected
wants to
not
keep what's on top enough that he doesn't want the land.
Right. Unfortunately, a little difficult to see with the glare. But
Yeah. Swing. Ding. Michael going to go to 13 here. You know, this guy's obviously not as fast if it were... What should it be?
yeah, actually, no. 13 sounds
Yeah, 13's right.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is where the Snap Leak gets nutty. Here's a Restoration Angel.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Denied by the Snapcaster Leak.
right. So Vincent, understanding what is important in this match.
And he's just going to scoop it up.
It looks like he's going to scoop it up.
All right. So now they're going to game 3?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
And actually, I like this play a lot from Michael. It's very unlikely that he's going to dig himself out of this. And they're
Right.
running short in game 3.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
This is something that actually is very useful in tournaments where you can prevent a lot of draws.
Yeah.
If you're unlikely to win, you can concede and try to get a real game 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Chet. Thanks for the update the deck stuff. That is happening as we speak. Yep. So we're going to go 1-1. Game 3 coming up here. Vincent Adenolfi versus Michael Phaler. Jeskai Geist versus Kiki Court. I think if you're the Geist deck, you're sort of priced into leaving in Geists. You know? You're not... It's very difficult to...
They're so much worse on the draw, though.
That is true.
Right.
That you're not wrong.
Because think of what the board could possibly look like by your turn 3, right?
Yeah.
It could be completely full.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I mean, you're not wrong. I just think like you have to be the aggressor because as the Geist deck, I really do think that Kiki Court has a better late game. Like you're not a Nahiri deck or something where you can afford to like
Right.
play catch up with a Nahiri. Like your Geist, you got to hit him.
And your plan to play Geist protected is still still valid.
Yeah.
Uh
So he's got a Supreme Verdict in his hand and a Mana Leak. This hand seems nuts.
yeah. Let's see if he has enough land to justify this.
He
keep.
has the
and it
lands.
looks like he does.
Yeah. Okay. This is a reasonable keep for Vince. It is a turn 1 Hierarch though for Michael. So like you definitely. Oh, and there's a Colonnade. Oh boy. So Vince is I think just gonna have to play catch up with like blow up your whole board in a couple turns. 2 drop into wall though. So Michael might have kept a 1-lander here.
No.
No. Okay, that's not unreasonable.
Right. I like this play a lot.
Yeah.
Depending if you draw a better land, you might want to play that instead.
Yeah.
Not fully utilizing the 3 mana on turn 2, but this is perfectly fine.
All right. So Vince gonna hold up Mana Leak here. Seeing what Michael's gonna do. Land Bird seems fine. He's gonna take a point though to use this Horizon Canopy. 19, and we'll pull up Horizon Canopy over here. Another Wall of Omens.
Okay, so Michael drawing a Court of Calling though. This is gonna be really important if on the next turn if Vincent tries
To play Geist.
to play Geist.
Yeah.
Court of Calling for Selfless Spirit now available to this deck.
Yes. Oh, you mean Verdict? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but instead,
Oh, Okay.
Nahiri, also very good. Michael's going to at least take 1 point from this.
Nahiri seems pretty good here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Vincent has the Purge in hand.
Oh, Vincent has a Purge?
Vincent has a Purge in hand.
Okay.
So, while Michael will get a free loot, we'll only be trading resources here.
Okay. I did not realize Vince had the Purge. I was somewhat worried about, because the Nahiri is very difficult for, a no board to interact with.
Yeah.
But
And this also means that if Vincent also has an interesting decision of whether or not he wants to. Ooh, Michael choosing to discard the Court of Calling.
yeah, I know this is not great.
Yeah,
Zap.
This is indicative of Michael really desperately looking to find a third land drop.
Yeah, I think he also might have another chord in his hand.
Right. So that Nahiri should be exiled here.
And this is going to be devastating.
Yeah.
Boom.
When you see your opponent miss on land drops.
And their lands are when their lands are creatures.
Yeah. So
Oh
Michael.
wow, he just rips the third one
Rips
like
the third land.
no mercy. But with no board, like Court of Calling is not good here.
No. I think Michael might be looking at Eternal Witness in hand.
Yeah, because he's looking at his graveyard.
Yeah,
so
when you start
heavily.
fiddling with your graveyard.
All right, gonna take another point.
All right. So this should be a point where we remind them that Nahiri is exiled.
Yep. All right, Dan has jumped out to make sure that Nahiri stays goodbye, because Eternal Witness, obviously finding Nahiri would be an extremely powerful play here. Vince's hand, I think, actually might lack a red source. He has a Ghost Quarter and some, other lands. Okay, so Dan does manage to get to the table in time. Makes it a little less appealing what Michael can draw from the Eternal Witness. Yeah, we will see. Yeah, so Dan getting back here. Now Vince going to take a draw step. What did you see what Michael E-witted for?
I did not.
Okay.
Presumably Court of Calling? That just seems
Yeah.
like the best card in this deck.
Yeah. Also, Vince doesn't have a red source. I don't know if you saw that. Ooh, but Vince does have a Spell Queller, baby. From downtown, standard all-star.
The Spell Queller may be getting pathed here, though. It looks like it is getting pathed.
Vince does get his red source though.
All right. And then Michael does elect to cast the Wall of Omens.
Shocking.
Yep.
Truly shocking, I say.
And then, importantly, finds his fourth land, gets in for 2.
Yep.
So it looks like the E-Wit might have been for a Wall of Omens to try to find more land drops.
That's not unreasonable. Vince gets his red source here. Spell Queller gets exiled. Vince very skeptical of Spell Queller going into tonight. I told him not to worry; it would be fine. One thing here is Vince is not far off of just finding some lands and just start beating with Colonnade.
Yeah.
Also, he has an Electrolyze, which is his pet card, but also extremely, extremely good against the X1 that is Eternal Witness.
Right. It looks like also Vincent has a handful of a bunch of bolts.
Yep. Spellskite here, you should probably Mana Leak, yeah.
Yeah. So Michael getting a little punish here for not shocking from the Sacred Foundry.
Yep. That always feels bad.
Yeah.
Ooh, got him. And Vince with Electrolyze mana up like a champ.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the zaps. 1-1. Ooh, boy. All right.
So almost the ideal turn for Vincent here.
Absolutely. Now he gets to untap without Michael having a follow-up. That's really good.
Yeah.
Snapcaster the draw for Vince. Snapcaster Leak, so good here.
Snapcaster Leaks, Snapcaster
He has
Electrolyze.
double bolt and a cord in his, double bolt and a Snapcaster. So Selfless Spirit going to come down.
Mm-hmm.
Not as good when it's not, protecting. This just dies to a bolt, I think.
Worse, it dies to Electrolyze.
Oh, Snap Electrolyze? Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. Oh.
So the
no.
E-Wit, though, is quite good. This, I assume, is going to get Mana Leak, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vince not allowing that to resolve. You just can't.
There's just too much value if you allow the E-Wit to resolve.
I think Vince just bolted face.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a lot of burn in hand. And he plays a land, apparently doesn't have to shock for it, so I'm going to assume that it was something good.
So I see at least a Dispel
Mm-hmm.
in Vincent's hand.
Yeah. He's just going to animate that Colonnade. Go crazy. Michael's tapped out, too.
Okay.
Beep, beep. Colonnade come through.
So this is going to put Michael down to 8, but
Vince has lethal burn
right.
if this happens.
But if I'm Michael, I just can't block with the Selfless Spirit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, if you
can't.
block, how do you win this game?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the thing is that Vince is really... The Jeskai deck has definitely turned the corner here.
Absolutely. I think the critical the critical turn was turn 4 when he was able to purge the Nahiri and
Yeah.
untap and Verdict. Michael also has drawn a lot of powerful cards, but unfortunately...
Also, did you say Vince? Oh, he does have a Dispel. Oh my god. That's so good.
Yeah, unfortunately, Michael stumbled on land for just a few too many turns.
Absolutely.
And
he might have to. Does he have to shock for this? No, he can get a forest. Okay.
yeah. So
I mean, he can't. He can cord for Resto. But or like what? Okay, so what do you cord for here? Do you cord for? I mean, it doesn't matter because it's going to get countered. But like you play cord sometimes, right?
so you can potentially cord for up to 5 here.
Yes. Make a
Revelark has to be your best core target.
Oh,
right?
Revelark, such a good card.
I'm assuming that's just the best core target that Michael can potentially get.
Woo! Look at the Revelark there. This is one of Dan's pet cards, ladies and gentlemen. If you
Right.
play a Revelark against him, he'll be sad. But if he plays it, he'll be very happy.
Yeah, I mean, other options you can core for Kiki Jiki. We saw it in Michael's deck, but that doesn't really do much on the board state.
Agreed.
Revelark also has the benefit of being able to trade for a Colonnade.
Yep. Except when it gets dispelled.
Yeah. So Michael instead going for a core for 4.
Might have been going for like a P and K.
P and K also a reasonable target.
Yeah. But it gets dispelled, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Like 1 mana for your 6 mana. Let's go.
So Vincent doesn't have double red right now,
Yeah, he can Ghost Quarter his Ghost Quarter though.
but he doesn't have second mountain.
Oh, you're right.
He already has his basic mountain in play.
You're right.
So the best he can
So,
do.
I mean, he can attack here. Selfless going to jump in front of the Colonnade, but he does get the Snapcaster damage in. So, and that's going to do it. Michael going to scoop it up. He has a Deceiver Exarch in his hand, of all things.
Oh, okay. So this may have been the blue version.
Chord, yep.
Yeah.
All right. So Vincent Adenolfi gonna win this in 3 games. Oh, with Jeskai Geist stuff over Kiki Chord, blue Chord. It looked like. Very interesting match there, and Vince, just absolutely backbreaking Supreme Verdict in that last game.
Yeah, I think the key point was just Michael playing 2 Wall of Omens and still not able to find his third land.
Right, absolutely.
You saw just like how desperate he was to find land.
For sure.
When you discarded Quarter Calling. By far the best card in this match.
Oh.
It just in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, obviously tutoring very powerful. And we'll kick it back up to the booth here. But yeah, so the tutor from Court of Calling, very strong. The fact that you can do stuff on your opponent's end step, very good. Obviously, Vince, with the with the sort of insane dispel off of his Colonnade, which he had already attacked with, going on.
Right.
But like, that happens sometimes. You just have last card dispel and
Yeah,
the Chord is useless.
It looks like Michael also went for a main phase Quarter Calling
Yeah.
instead of waiting for...
Waiting for Vince's turn.
Yeah.
Waiting for him to well, I guess if he animates Colonnade, you still do stuff, but you delayed a turn, I guess.
Right. I mean, at that point, he was in fairly rough shape
Yeah,
already.
absolutely.
But yeah, seeing the power of just, the Jeskai deck. If your answers line up to their threats in an appropriate fashion...
You feel so good.
It feels great.
Because all of your stuff is cheaper than theirs.
Right. But again, like, imagine if Michael had been able to curve out.
Oh, yeah,
Right. Like,
absolutely.
if he had played turn 2 Voice, if he had, like...
Voice
played,
of Resurgence is a nuts magic card in this
Right.
matchup. It's really quite disgusting, actually.
He, like, depending on the sequencing, like, could have even left up, like, Chord for Spellful Spirit on, turn 4.
Chord for Selfless, also just disgusting.
Yeah, we just saw Michael just stumbling just a tad too long, and Vincent's draw just lined up very well against
That's the
it.
problem, though, I think, with playing like a 4-color deck with so many color requirements, right? Like, you're trying to get green-white on turn 2 for Voice, obviously, but you also have, like, I mean, obviously you're not going to cast Kiki Jiki a lot, but, like, you do have, like, there's a lot of different directions that your mana base is trying to go in.
Right. And that's part of the concession as well, that you saw Michael play Noble Hierarch instead.
Yeah.
He probably still has the 4 birds, but the inclusion of Noble
He's a
Hierarch...
5th higher. Ian is a 5th.
Right,
Dark.
gives you the blue source to be able to cast,
Exarch.
Powerful cards like Exarch, you get Glen Elendra.
Glen Elendra Archmage is a nuts magic
Yeah,
card.
Glen Elendra is very powerful. And, especially when you start recurring it, all of a sudden, like... it's quite
When
good.
you evoke your Revelark and one of the cards you get back as a Glen Elendra Archmage, I feel like the game is over.
Yeah.
It's very over,
Or you
actually.
just play the Revelark and you look at them and it's like, if this dies, I get P and K back and Glen Elendra. Or get Eternal Witness getting back the Revelark.
It's disgusting no matter what.
And
Revelark,
it's
what
a
card.
problem with third decks. Like, if you're not playing Path to Exile, the Revelark Eternal Witness chain is, like, very real. And it's difficult to disrupt.
Yeah. I mean, you can Scooze, I guess.
Screws is like an option, but
That's it.
yeah, I mean you have Grafdigger's Cage,
Yeah,
and
but
stuff like that.
needless to say, Revelark generating nuts amounts of value in this deck.
Oh, absolutely.
Very, very strong.
One of many like bullets you can play.
Absolutely.
I've seen decks play Avacyn.
Oh yeah, everyone's favorite standard all-star.
Yeah, standard all-star, but also getting to 5 mana, not the hardest thing to do with this deck, and just a fine card, just hardcast.
Yeah, I mean, it also makes combat miserable because so here's the thing: is like you don't necessarily have to have the Avacyn, but if your opponent thinks you could have the Avacyn, they're so afraid.
Yeah.
Like, how do you block against someone who can just play Avacyn? Like,
it does have the downside, unfortunately, of if it flips, it is very likely to kill everything you're playing.
Yeah, it kills everything you own. That's fine, though. All right. Got pairings to the last round coming to us.
Looks like we're going to be looking for Isaac Sherman against Brandon Salgado.
Yep.
So Isaac is on Elves this week.
Okay, so we're watching Elves versus Infect.
Elves versus Infect. Almost certainly has to be favoring the Elves player. You just have...
You have Infinity. I guess Blighted Agent's really good, though.
Yeah, Blighted Agent, quite good. But you do have just, blockers for days.
For sure, for sure.
Against a deck that has very limited disruption for your playing.
Right, and especially with them cutting, say, Apostle's Blessings for the new Blossoming Defense. Like, they're not going to be able to slip those Glisteners through as often.
Right, and importantly, like, Elvish Archdruid, a lot of times you play it on turn 2, and it immediately dies against most decks. But against Infect, it's not dying.
It's not going to die, and then you're going to make like 1 billion mana.
And it's going to make an incredible amount of mana. And then, you can easily draw into more gas.
Yes, that is absolutely the case. Elvish Archdruid is a insane Magic card when it goes uncontested. We saw, I think last week, an Elvish Archdruid tap for like 9 mana mid-combat to cast Collected Company and pump an Azuri or something.
Yeah.
Like, like please have mercy.
Elvish Archdruid is one of the ways that you end up just hard casting things like Crater Hoof.
Hardcast Crater Hoof seems great. We saw Tony Skripchek do it round 1. Like, might see it happen again. We're gonna jump down to the play overlay here. Gotta mess with this stuff. All right, so we're gonna have. All right, so this is Isaac Sherman on the right, and on the left, and then on the right we have Bren. All right. And
so while we get set up
here, yeah. So, let's go. This, so we got Elves over here. Do you know if he's splashing anything?
No, I saw a Heritage Druid out of his deck.
Okay,
so
that means literal nothing.
Yeah. It does mean Elves. It looks like they're going for a poker roll here. I see 2 pair, threes and 2s with a 4 kicker.
Oh, okay.
For those unfamiliar, you roll 5 dice and make a poker hand out of it. And let's see what Brandon rolled here.
Isaac's got to help him a little bit, I think.
Yeah, this looks like nothing. This is a 6 high.
Yep, so looks like Isaac is going to be on the play here with Elves. Being on the play is obviously huge. Like really, really huge. There's no way that there's
Yeah, a lot of times this matchup can come up down just,
who played first?
Someone's 1 turn off.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yep, these players are going to shuffle up, get us underway in our last round tonight. Again, want to thank everyone for tuning into the stream. We were on over 100 viewers for a very long time tonight, and that's super great for us, and we really appreciate you joining us this weekend. Joining us this week for some Modern action. Infect versus Elves. Players are going to draw their hands, and we'll see. I mean, I feel like without Blighted Agent or Ink Moth, there's a Blighted Agent though already. This is just
potentially 2 Blighted Agents.
So good. How do you beat that when you're Elves? You just have to race it, I guess.
It's hard.
How do you race it though?
If they play, turn 2 Blighted, you could be dead turn 3. All right, so
Nettle Sentinel turn 1.
All right, so if we can follow this up with a Heritage, we've got a lot of potentially explosive draws. Importantly, though, Isaac doesn't have like immediate access to two mana to 3 mana on
Absolutely,
turn 2.
Man, Brandon really likes to go for basic forest. I guess he's just like, I guess here you don't care because you can just, your hierarchy is free.
Yeah, and it's just not...
He has a breeding pool in hand too. Okay.
Yeah.
Draw step here. Court of Calling the draw.
Alright.
Horizon Canopy.
Horizon Canopy.
Take a pain.
So,
Beats.
yeah, Isaac remembering to attack first so that when he plays whatever happens next, it will untap.
Gonna go to 19 here off the Horizon Canopy.
Ooh, so he does have the heritage. Do we have another 1 mana elf? And we do. So this is going to potentially make.
This is not what you want to see if you're
This is
Brandon.
3 mana. So there's the Archdruid.
Oh my god.
And
This is a big board of dudes.
right. So importantly, if Isaac had done this pre-combat, he could have attacked for 3.
Right. You're right.
Not sure if it was more important to have Nether Druid like untapped for next turn, or it was
yeah, I don't know.
to attack for extra point damage.
All right. I mean, maybe some minor damage lost there, but this is an incredible start.
So for people keeping track, this Elvis Archer currently
Taps for 4.
taps for 4.
Brandon gonna go to
We've got a
15.
quarter call in hand. This is currently X equals 3.
Oh my god. Just throw down the hand. It
Oh,
is
wow.
collected company and so you collected company and then you try to court here. Hello indeed. Oh.
So it's interesting to see what
Good god. This is filthy. I think you drew a Llanowar Elf.
yeah.
So you just play that, make the Archdruid one bigger. You also just blitz him with your Nettle Sentinel. That's 3 damage.
Right. So
That's gonna untap when you cast your green spells.
Isaac's biggest problem here is that
Not
figuring
dying.
out how to maximize the amount of mana he can produce this turn.
Yeah. So I think it starts with an attack with Nettle Sentinel because it's free.
But if you're gonna go into something big,
Yeah.
like Crater Hoof,
Yeah.
you might want to
Oh. you're
hold
right,
off
right.
on that.
Oh, how much mana can he make though? I don't. Can he make that much mana?
So currently he can make 4, 5, 6, 9 mana.
Well, that's not enough. He needs 11 mana.
And just courting for Crater Hoof doesn't do anything, right? You
Yeah.
really want untapped creatures as well.
Agreed.
Okay.
Llanowar Elf gonna be the play here.
So if he taps Llanowar, Nettle, Heritage, and Horizon Canopy for Collected Company, he'll untap Nettle, presumably get at least...
He's gonna swing.
Okay, so attack for 2, sure.
Brandon gonna go to 12. It's an attack for 3, and he's
Okay.
gonna pass a turn. He might just be dead though. This is worrying.
So one card that Isaac might have in the main is Spellskite.
Oh, that would be so. That'd be
So,
good. Except
Brandon-
against Blossoming Defense, by the way.
So
I hope he doesn't cord for Spellskite in response. Oh, he's just gonna Coco. Okay. He's gonna make like what 5 mana with the Archdruid to collect a company.
right.
Blossoming Defense critically only targets creatures you control.
Right.
Ergo, Spellskite is not a legal target to redirect it
and
to.
actually quite important as in getting around Spellskite.
Ezuri, Dwynen's Elite, the two hits from the Coco.
Okay.
I would have preferred to have done that with the Heritage Druids
So
because the
yeah,
okay.
I think I would have also preferred to do it with the Heritage Roots because this would have meant that Archdruid taps for 3 more.
Yeah, he's gonna court here though. So this might be a court for 2. I think it's a court for 2 based on how much he tapped. So the thing is though is like, okay, I guess this like if Brandon has like something other than Blossoming Defense, like he can just suck it all up.
Right. If I was Brandon, so one card that Isaac almost certainly has though, well, potentially has, is also Malira in the main.
Oh please God, let it be Malira.
Which not
He's looked through his deck like 3 times now.
not necessarily an auto include. Isaac
I think he might not have it in his main deck. Ruh-roh.
may have misboarded. He's gone through a couple times here and was very hesitant in the last pass through.
Clearly looking for something.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yep, he's looking at the sideboard.
Checking the sideboard.
That doesn't feel great.
Looks like he found the card that he was trying to court for.
That's suboptimal. That's suboptimal.
Yeah, so at regular REL here, this would not be a game loss. You would just play on. But unfortunately, you can't add the card back into your deck mid-game.
That would be quite good. It's like having a Burning Wish or something.
Yeah. So we're gonna see. We're gonna take a pause here while we wait for the judge to figure out how this board state is gonna unravel. Unfortunately, it is not gonna be good for Isaac.
I definitely don't think it can be good here.
Yeah, Isaac is very likely dead here because at best he takes 4 infect.
Yeah.
Assuming Brandon can't add.
If Brandon has Become Immense, he's dead. He has actual Become Immense.
Or a bunch of smaller pump spells, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Benjamin Berry, we don't have deck lists because this is regular REL, and having people register deck lists for a Wednesday night thing would be a lot of effort.
And also just not, improper for a regular REL.
I think so. It looks like he shuffled a card into his library. Or he's shuffling his library.
All right. Well, while we're in this pause, we'll go outside and see what the judge ruling here was.
All right. Yep. So Dan's gonna go look, guys. Hopefully everything resolved okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to see what Brandon's got in hand here because if he has Become Immense, the game is just over. Because Infect is Infect, but maybe they're gonna rewind and let him redo the chord. What? I don't know what's happening. Dan is out of the booth currently looking, but interesting. All right, so now he's gonna get to chord. Oh, okay. So apparently, because this is regular rel, the Spellskite's back in the list. Like I said, guys, unsure, very unsure. All right, what's the fix, Dan? Because it looks like on stream he just chorded for Spellskite.
Fix first is to get fruit snacks. All right, so it looks like Isaac accidentally presented a 59 card deck.
Okay.
So the correction here at regular REL, it's a little bit more lax. Allows us to just go back to the 60 card main deck. So find the card that was missing, put it in, and that allows Isaac to properly chord for the Spellskite.
Interesting. All right. So chord for Spellskite. Looks like he's going to take 4 infect here.
Critically here, if I was Brandon...
And Brandon scoops it up.
Yeah, if I was Brandon here, I would have been in response to the chord for 2. It's either Malira or Spellskite.
You got to drop all your pump.
I would just drop all my pump. And then hope it's good. If it's Malira, you're not going to win. But...
If it's Spellskite, you could win.
If it's Spellskite, you could win.
I'm not sure he had lethal in hand, though.
Yeah. And Brandon was just facing a mountain of damage on
REL stands for Rules Enforcement Level, Master Senpai. It's basically it's the level that the rules are enforced at. So, like, I guess that's, like, completely tautological. But basically, it's like how strict the rules are with regards to, accidentally having 59 cards in your deck or not having, or, like, having cards, extra cards in your sideboard or something.
One thing that comes up a lot is missed triggers.
Yeah.
So your tournaments like F&M, the weekly events that you might play at your local game shop, a lot of these are actually the vast majority of these will be at regular REL, which means that the tournament is run with rule enforcement focused on teaching and educating players. So that means that things that would not be allowed at more competitive events can occur at regular RL. So you can, fix missed triggers, for example, or apply fixes like this.
Yeah. Okay, so Alpal BP, he did have the win in hand apparently from what he saw on the stream based on the cards that Brandon had in hand. I think just that he let the chord resolve and that was the end of that.
Yeah, absolutely. With Brandon with enough pump in hand has to respond to the chord for 2 and just dump all of his pump. Right.
He can't wait for he can't let the chord resolve.
It feels bad if your opponent ends up chording for something like Fiend Hunter, but it's an Elves deck, so it's really maybe main deck Malira, maybe main deck Spellskite.
Main deck Malira though, so good. How do you ever How like obviously you can't beat that.
Right.
So. Yep, we will see. We're gonna go to game 2 here again. Brandon a turn away from doing it right. Like if Brandon's on the play, he probably wins the game. Maybe.
Yeah. Very very likely.
Yeah. Very likely. All right, so. Yes, and also like that was a pretty crazy explosive draw from Isaac.
Yeah, utilized all of his mana every turn, and ended the game hellbent.
Yeah, ending the game hellbent. 10 creatures in play or something.
There potentially was a more optimal line playing Collected Company from the Heritage Roots.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it didn't really matter.
Oh, he has a Spellskite and a Melira in his opener.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
How do you ever lose? I think he has 2 lands too. I think he has like Cavern Horizon Canopy.
you can usually beat one of those cards as Infect.
Right.
But beating 2,
pretty disgusting.
All of a sudden, yeah.
He's also on a Mulda 6. I don't like this at all for Brandon.
Yeah, but I mean, again, we've all seen very explosive draws from Infect.
Yeah, I mean, if he draws like a bunch of Blossoming Defenses, or what the Melira jeez. I guess he has to just kill him with normal damage.
Yeah, I mean, which is not unreasonable. Certainly, everyone, a lot of people have lost the normal damage from.
Lots of people lost the normal damage. Oh man, yeah. I remember the first time I saw someone do it. It was Tom Ross playing Legacy Infect, just killed a guy with like Hierarch's double become immense.
Yeah,
it's like
and in Legacy, Berserker's a heck of a card.
Berserker's a hell of a card. Yeah. Oh boy.
All right, so Brandon, keeping
gonna scry bottom, and gonna go with a land. So I'm gonna go to 19.
Yeah, and Cubs fan, there's a distinct lack of updates for Cubs scores.
Yeah, Cubs fan, bring us the Cubs. What are we doing? Did the city of Chicago win or lose today? We would be very interested in knowing. Turn 1 Glistener Elf, classic Infect, doing it. Draw here, draws in Azuri, Renegade Leader. Turn 1 gonna lead with Horizon Canopy pass. Ooh. So, I mean, Brandon has to suspect that the game is afoot right now.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac kept 7 and didn't have a turn 1 play. So, it says that his hand must be incredibly
nutty.
Removal heavy or, like, cocoa heavy.
All right. So, looks like you're going to go to 1 poison here for Isaac. And in the chat, 5-1 for the Cubs. All right, the city of Chicago rejoices. Now we just got to win all the games at Wrigley and do it.
Yeah.
Or something. So, Brandon looks like he's going to fetch Shock here. Going to go to 16. Now, here's a question. If you're Isaac, do you run out the Melira first or the Spellskite? I like the Melira, personally, because that is just lights out.
Spellskite. I would run the Spellskite, yeah.
It looks like he's probably going to name Elves. He's going to take a point of pain from that Horizon Canopy.
At the same time, like, Melira... So the problem with Melira is it's just a 2/2 body.
Yeah, but they also just don't do anything anymore, right? They just do normal damage. Oof. Inkmoth also really bad versus Melira, guys. There's a weird layers interaction with how that all works out, and it's not good for the Infect player.
Right. Inkmoth will do literal nothing now.
Yep, unless it has lifelink. Which I guess it still does.
Yeah, unless it has lifelink.
Okay, I know that's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and Spellskite also is Twisted Image.
Yeah. So there's a serve for 2. Regular damage. So yep, Brandon has to commit to this now.
Brandon 17. Yep.
Yeah. So Isaac does need to hit a land drop, but he did draw Llanowar Elf. So I suspect what comes next is a Spellskite, and that is actual lights out now.
He may instead choose to play double Mana Dork to develop his mana.
No. He's going to play Spellskite.
Yeah.
We're at row.
Spellskite also pretty good.
Attack with Melira.
Yeah. The attack with the Melira is a little risky because you do get blown out by Blossoming Defense.
Yes, you do, actually. Ooh, that'd be really good for Brandon, but... Right. Now Brandon just has, like, Blossoming Defense as, like, cards that work in terms of pumping.
Yes.
Because everything else, Isaac is just going to redirect and make his spell skite bigger.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps didn't.
I don't know about this one.
Yep. So I believe there are judges on hand, so they will explain the interaction here.
Okay. You should go make sure that
we'll
that
go
happens.
double check, make sure that happens.
Or mutagenic. Good point, TX Rager. No, you can redirect the muta to your spell skite, right? Or is muta you control? Ooh. No, it's target creature. Okay, so that's fine. So serve in again with Malira. Gonna go to 12 here for Brandon. Isaac, incidentally, also going to... I think he's at 14. Maybe 15. Yeah, so maybe a little bit of confusion about what Inkmoth does here. Alright, so what's the sitch?
So yeah, it looks like he did miss that interaction, so Isaac would have only taken 1 during combat.
Okay, so yeah, he goes... I think the life totals are right now.
Okay, so Matt, have you explained the interaction?
Not yet.
Okay.
Basically, go ahead. You're the judge, Dan.
Okay, so this is an interesting layers question. So we're going to pull up Malira on the side here. And so what Malira states is that you can't gain you can't gain poison counters, which is pretty self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. But also, creatures your opponent controls lose infect.
Yes.
Now, so for cards like Glistener Elf and Blighted Agent, that's pretty self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. They just no longer have the word infect on it.
Yeah.
However, since Inkmoth, when you activate it, says that it becomes a creature with infect, that's time-stamped later. So that means it will still gain infect when you animate it afterwards. So the problem there is, okay, if Blinkmoth has infect and hits you, it'll try to deal poison counters, and then Malira will say, hey, you can't get poison counters. So what happens is you don't take normal damage, you don't take poison damage, you don't take any damage.
The dream.
So yeah, Malira are very good against Inkmoth. Now this is a little different if, for example, if you cord from Malira and Inkmoth is already animated. If it's already animated, it already has the infect ability, and that will be dropped. And it'll do normal damage that turn. It's a little confusing, but if you think about it, it sort of does make sense.
It sort of makes sense. Mm-hmm. All right, so Isaac here slowly blocking against this infect. Against the infect. I don't know what sort of pump Brandon has, but it's completely nullified, and I feel like this is just overwhelmingly favorable for Isaac.
So Isaac still fears no blossoming defense.
Or yeah, it's only blossoming defense though, because mutagenic would get spell skited, but and Brandon fetching again here. All right, Brandon down to 8 now. This is not looking good for Brandon.
No,
like.
There are draws where you can beat them with normal damage. However,
this is not one of them.
This is not going to
also,
be one of them.
Isaac representing Collected Company.
Mm-hmm.
Or Cord for 2. But he's already got his 2 power spell. Oh, Brandon does have a Spell Pierce, I think. So, sad times if you're... Alright, rotate in for 1.
2. Noble Heart.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so just chipping in for a little bit of damage. Isaac's going to take another point here to cast Collected Company.
Yeah, he does need to be wary of his life total. Brandon does put the Spell Pierce on the table, though, so do not pass go. Discard Collected Company.
Okay, so despite the Isaac having, a very good start, life totals are very close.
This is way closer than I think he's comfortable with necessarily. Does get to play a Guiltleaf Palace, which is just a green-black untapped dual land.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure how much damage Isaac has taken off this Horizon Canopy.
It's a lot.
But it's quite a bit.
It's a lot.
He's cast 3, 4, 5 spells off of this?
Yeah, for sure. And now beats? Okay. Big swing here.
Yeah, so giving Brandon the opportunity to...
take 4.
Oh, okay, so he's not going to trade the creatures. He's going to chump the Malira.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I guess
so
he could have...
take 2. Oh, take 4.
No, he took 4. He swung with 2 elves, yeah. Alright. Jeez, this is just like just a long grindy end to this game.
This is going to be pretty rough now because Brendan has the option of playing 4 pump spells. Actually, only needs 3 pump spells.
Yeah, he has Become Immense.
His Become Immense is a good start.
I think he has a land though. He has he has a pump spell short.
Yes.
He's got Groundswell, Land, Become Immense. If that was a pump spell. Yep, he's going to give the hand. So Brandon Salgado, on Infect, going to lose this one to Elves. Elves with probably the nuttiest anti-Infect draw I've ever seen in my life. Malira and Spellskite in the opener, and 2 lands? Like, what? Who does that? So, you know, obviously very difficult for Infect, but as Dan said, 3 pump spells on the Blighted Agent, and that would have been the game. So Brandon, a pump spell away from drawing out of that. So close, yet still just like one card short. That's rough. And so yeah, we look at the sideboard here. Path to Exile and Malira, obviously for Isaac. I didn't see any of his white sources. Oh, he had Horizon Canopy as his white sources. I guess there's probably like Temple Gardens floating around in there. But yeah, so you know, bit of a rough go of it for Brandon, especially in that second game. Just jeez, having that having both of those hate pieces against him just far too much. Because the thing is, without the Spellskite, Isaac either takes more damage or has to like chump with more things, and that's not ideal for him. Like Dan said, you can beat one. Probably you might be able to beat one, but you definitely can't beat 2. Brandon did come close to beating 2, but in the end, there's just too much hate there, and Elves gonna clean it up. Dan right now looking for another match. Yes. Match? Dan has chosen to loot the fruit snacks instead of tell me whether we have a match or not. Match, yes, no?
Yes, we do have a match.
All right, who are we watching?
We're going to watch, actually, 2 people who lost earlier on stream. We're going to be watching Jim Bailey play against Michael.
Michael...
Phalor.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be Kiki Cords versus Burn.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, we saw Jim flood out pretty hard against Vincent earlier.
Yeah.
And then Michael not drawing enough lands.
Yeah, so maybe they'll balance out and we'll have a real game of Magic.
This is game 3, though, so someone must win.
Yes, that's typically how these things work. So we got Mardu Burn over here for Jim. And then on the right, we have... Michael Phalor.
Yeah. So looking at the board state while we're getting these matches, Michael did have a Glen Elendra in play.
Well, that's so good against Burn.
Yeah, I mean, at worst, counter 2 things. At worst.
Also block. Also attack sometimes. Yeah, we'll pull up Glen Elendra Archmage in just a moment here. Glen Elendra Archmage, extremely powerful card, and negate, stapled on a body that has persist.
Yeah, double negate.
Double negate, casual, no big deal.
Also,
is a flyer.
Also flying 2/2,
hits you, etc. Repeat until dead.
A lot of interesting things you can do with Glen Elendra. It has persist, so if you Phantasmal Image it, you get your Phantasmal Image back as well.
Dan, please.
Also, being a 2/2, you can get it back with a Revelar.
Yeah, for sure.
Not a insignificant interaction.
So to answer from the chat, Link99. So Mardu over Naya, I think you get like bumping. Get bump in the night.
Yeah. So if you play black, you have access to one more 1 mana 3 deal 3 in bump in the night, which occasionally gets flashback if you get horrendously flooded. Naya typically a little more popular because you get a Tarkus command, which is very powerful.
A Tarkus command is kind of nutty.
Yeah, and you also get a Nakato.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. So turn 1 Goblin Guide here, flipped a Wall of Roots. Turn 1 Birds here from Michael. And yes, Dan pronounces it Naya, Cubs fan. Don't ask me why. Eidolon here.
For clarification.
And a swing with the guide.
This is the voice of Dan, and the Naya naysayers was Matt.
Oh man.
So,
So wait, how do you pronounce red, white, green, Dan?
Naya.
Naya. Okay, yeah. I say Naya, Cubs fan. Terrible pronunciation. I know.
Which, fun fact, is also LSV's daughter's name.
Yes, he did name his kid after a magic shard.
Yes. Technically not a card.
No, just a shard.
Yeah.
Are there any card names with Naya in them though?
Oh yeah, the tons. Presumably, right?
Mm-hmm.
At worst, just Naya
Trigger.
Panorama.
So, gonna go to 14 here. Wall of Omens does make that Goblin Guide look a little bit silly, but Goblin Guide plus Eidolon will still attack for 2 around this.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's a lot of pressure given that Jim has cast 2 spells this game.
right. Well, a lot of cards in the core deck will get around Eidolon. It's also, it's filled with birds. It's filled with, 2-drops.
Voices, etc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What?
Ooh, and what is this card here? Chat, if
Chat.
you can help us out here.
Chat, please. Okay, Cubs fan, I'll attempt to say Naya for the sake of your physical pain. Also, chat, what is the card? Is it... What? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Well, Jim's gonna get in for 2. Did they forget the Goblin Guide trigger here?
I'm not sure. Oh, Reign of Gore. Alright, we're gonna pull it up on the side here. Thank you to Genki Toro for informing us. Huh, I guess this is insurance against Michael having literal anything to gain life.
Yeah, I mean...
Alright. And also, General Sugos says Naya is a plane chase card, so boom. Shakalaka, Dan.
But is that an actual card?
I don't know.
Are plane chase cards cards?
Alright, trigger. Gonna take some more life out. So yeah, Reign of Gore apparently a reason to play Mardu.
Yep.
I'm unsure, I mean, basically what this does is, I guess, if Michael had, Kitchen Finks in hand, he would just be toast. Ooh, Spellskite.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem bad.
Kitchen Finks is kind of hideous, right?
Play this, ping yourself.
Play this loose, too.
Mm-hmm. So now, Jim has to come up with enough burn to beat the Spellskite. Also, importantly, the Spellskite, there is blue mana available for Michael once he untaps.
Mm-hmm.
So, Swift Spear for Jim. Not
Lincoln,
ideal.
This is, in fact, game 3. So.
All right. Yeah. I got it.
Okay, so blocks like that. Looks like oh, they do remember the Goblin Guide trigger here. Michael does find the land off of that.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Searing Blaze quite good.
Yep, Searing Blaze is going to finish off this Spellskite, and Michael's going to take 3 from that as well.
Yep. This is looking pretty bad for Michael right now.
Yeah, being at 7 without the ability to gain life is going to be pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
Jim will just kind of have inevitability here. He needs to become horrendously flooded to not.
There is a Glenelendra Archmage in Michael's hand, but he's not playing it. He's playing Wall. Alas. Make 2 more mana, play another Wall. All right.
Okay.
So, suffice to say, Jim is not really getting through on the ground anytime soon.
Right, but 7 is not a whole lot to have to deal.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
That's, Jim could have that in hand right now very well.
Mm-hmm.
Or he could have 6 or something. So basically, as long as he gets it in there before the Glenelendra comes down, he's fine.
Right.
And even after the Glenelendra comes down, Michael needs to have some real pressure.
So what Jim just did is not inconsequential. By cracking that fetch, if he doesn't draw another land, future Searing Blazes are going to be much worse.
That's just true. Good point.
But not having a look at Jim's hand, difficult to tell. But Jim just has enough cards that you would just assume he has lethal.
We will see. It's like watching Jaws.
I mean,
got him, Lava Spike.
Lava Spike.
Go to 4.
Can't redirect that. So Michael can chord for 1, 2, 3 here.
I don't know what that does.
You can get Spell Sky.
Does he have another one?
Possibly.
What?
What is this?
Tassiger? Gurmag Angler in the burn deck, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Michael has a path in hand. It's fine. But Gurmag Angler out of nowhere. This is another reason to play Mardu Burn, guys. Jim Bailey always does make interesting choices with his deck building. Reign of Gore being one. Gurmag Angler most certainly being the second.
Right. So Michael's in an interesting predicament here. He really wants access. Well, no. Actually, I take that back. This Wooded Foothills is no longer just you just can't.
You can't crack the foothills.
You just can't crack this.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, Pod Champ indeed, General Stukov. Gurmag Angler in a burn deck. I mean, if you're not playing Lava Mancer, why not, right? Michael says, I don't care.
Right.
Oh, because this is going to let him play Glen Elendra with blue up, so. That seems good.
Yeah, I mean, he may be priced into having to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Although, he does get Glen Elendra with blue up regardless, because he has a Birds of Paradise.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, that has to come in tap. There's no way he's untapping that land. No. What? Are you for real? Oh my god, dude. This guy... Have you ever seen a man have less fear in his life?
I mean, 3 is the same as 1, right?
That's true.
It's
true. Good point.
It's effectively the same, right?
Yep. Things are happening in this Magic game, folks. That's all I know.
Yeah. 3 effectively is the same. You have so many blockers that like you're not gonna get poked by a Monastery Swiftspear.
Yeah.
So Michael with another path in hand with Glen Elendra.
So Cubs fan, Worship is definitely not good enough against the bump in the night deck. Just gonna put this out here. It is a lose life, not a damage thing. Here comes the Glen Elendra with blue up. So
may potentially want to tap for that a little differently. Maybe put a counter on each one.
Mm-hmm.
This way he leaves a path decks up.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you, Cubs fan. I think that going to 1 was maybe a little bold here, but I guess
going to 1 is a little risky because
Steering Blaze, yeah, as Cubs fan said.
Right.
All right. So Glen Elendra is on the battlefield. So Jim needs to have double burn spell in 1 turn. Like right now, because then Michael doesn't have double blue.
Yes. Or not even that. You can just fire off the second burn in response to the trigger.
Oh my god.
So, okay, so Self-Inflicted Wound.
Oh, yes.
This is going to have to be countered.
This is another one. This is another one where if he had fetched, it wouldn't have mattered as much, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Glen Elendra is going to come back with a counter.
All right, so it looks like Jim didn't have another...
Does not have another... Oh, that's so sad. Oh, what's his last card, though?
Possibly more land?
I guess? Question mark? Jim, holding his last card, very... I am so confused. What is it? Do it!
So...
Get him!
It could be a creature?
Oh! The Hardcast Rift Bolt!
Hardcast Rift
to
Bolt
the face!
will be good.
And that is gonna do it. Jim Bailey takes it 2-1 Mardu Burn against Blue Cord.
Yeah.
Woo!
I don't think there was anything that Michael could have done about that.
Nope. Oh, man. That always feels so bad when they're just like, I don't even need to suspend this.
Right.
Rift Bolt you. Oh, man.
Yeah, Michael
oh,
got
man.
very close to stabilizing that at the end.
So close. I guess he... I don't know. Cracking the Wooded Foothills, dog.
I would be interested to see if Michael had another blue source in his deck. If he did...
He had a Hallowed Fountain. He had a Hallowed Fountain in his deck.
Gotcha.
Oh, he should have gotten Hallowed Fountain because then he could have
Fountain
pathed and then kept the...
Yeah.
And then kept up double blue. Although, I guess they were both sorceries from Jim, so it doesn't matter.
Right. It wouldn't have mattered if Jim had an instant.
Right, because he can respond to the persist trigger.
But in the off chance that Jim had 2 sorceries, it wouldn't matter. And it just so happened that Jim did have 2 sorceries. But these are the minor edges, right, that can determine games.
Yeah.
But with that will wrap us up for Wednesday Night Modern. We're going to throw it back to the booth here with a couple of closing words.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, we hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. We had some really good viewership, and we were really excited to be able to broadcast to this many people. Thank you for joining us if you did tune in. We will be back here next Wednesday and every Wednesday. If you're interested in playing Magic in the Chicago area, you should come to this shop.
Yeah, MTG Card Market, a fantastic shop for pretty much any format. There are events going on pretty much every day. This
Yeah.
Monday winner boxes, standard winner boxes, Tuesday night drafts, Wednesday modern, Thursday legacy, and Friday winner box standard.
Yep.
In addition, MTGCardmarket will be vendoring at GP Dallas. So
Ooh, okay.
if you're traveling out to GP Dallas, stop by, say hello. There's a fantastic group of people working there that weekend, and hey, if you want to offload some cards, if you want to buy anything, 20% store credit for all sales.
Yeah, and just if you're in the Chicago area, we are located just west of the Belmont Red Line stop. So it's very very easy to get to. And one last thing, in the sidebar here, you'll see. I guess I point the wrong way. The standard 1K PPTQ. This is I think probably the 4th or 5th like XK PPTQ that Card Market has done. Previous one was modern. This one is standard. Come out, bring your best standard deck if you want to, battle for some of the best prize support that you can find in a PPTQ around these parts for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty rare to find PPTQs with cash prizes, much less cash prizes this significant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, there's still the RPTQ invite on top of all of it. So
Seems pretty good
if
value.
you're in the area, if you play standard, it's a fantastic tournament to try to qualify for the Pro Tour.
Yep. All right, guys, so that is going to close out the night for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next week with more Modern. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.